All of you online, am I audible to all? Am I streaming fine? Online students? Okay, fine. Hi Anuba, Mani, Devarga, Ronak, Shilpi. Yeah. Ganesh, Himanshu. Yes, what we'll do is, I'll take the first 35 minutes to finish off some of the topics of what I have left out yesterday for environment updates. And then we will move towards the reading session. Hi Shivani, Bhuvneshwari, Anu. Okay, yes, good afternoon, good afternoon. And for the reading sessions, we'll give you a link. We'll give a link to you. You can download the pages for a reading. Some of you are here for the first time. You do not know the process, but eventually all will get a hang of it. Yes, yes. Okay. So let's start. So yesterday we covered 5-6 themes. Quickly we have touched on some topics. Continuing with environment. I hope all of you have your folders now. Okay? Either here or back in your room, whatever suits you, you can work with that. Let's take up the remaining topics one by one. So first in the discussion is, now these are smaller topics, okay? But all the topics write in a fresh page, unless the themes are same. So if I'm talking plastic pollution, then next time I do plastic pollution, usi page mein likhna koi dikkat nahi hai. If I'm doing corals today, maybe after 2-3 weeks, I'll do again corals, fir aap usme add kar lena. And by the time you do this, you all will know what topic is where in terms of organization. So right now, all topics are new. Use separate pages, all of you. Yeah, yesterday we had identified 10-12 themes. Plastic pollution, air pollution, water pollution, biodiversity, conventions, forests. We had agriculture also separately. Okay, so you organize, and for every news, write the date, please. So you know how the news has developed, which news came first and which news came later on. Okay? Okay, so we're starting off. The first topic I'll take up is something on solar waste. Solar waste, like a special category of waste that we have. And solar waste is in news because we realize that the amount of quantum of waste we're generating solar case mein is much more and with different type of waste compared to other e-wastes. So we have a separate category called as solar wastes, although they come under the East Wave Management. Down here, the first point is that currently India's installed solar capacity is, about 68 gigawatts, and it generates about 100 kilotons of cumulative wastes. Our capacity is 66.7 gigawatts, and we are generating about 100 kilotons of cumulative waste. Right? This waste will increase by more than 3 times. By 2030. It will increase by more than 3 times by 2030. Okay, right next. To meet our renewable energy targets, the policy objective is to have 292 gigawatts of solar capacity. 292 gigawatts of solar capacity by 2030. By 2030. So imagine, अभी आपका 66 या 700 भी मान के चल लो, and we need at least more than 4 times of our present capacity. So amount of waste will be humongous in that case. Write down, solar wastes are the cumulative amount of wastes. Solar wastes are the cumulative amount of waste that is produced during manufacturing of solar modules. During the manufacturing of solar modules or from discarded modules. While manufacturing कुछ waste बनता है, we call that as solar waste, or even discarded modules or scrap. Discarded modules or scrap at the end of their functional life. At the end of their functional life. Important है, we have defined what we mean by solar waste. मतलब है, while manufacturing of the solar modules, the panels हैं, we're making those kind of small semiconductor absorbents जो भी है, while manufacturing जो waste है वो solar waste है, while manufacturing some are discarded ones वो भी waste है. At the end of the use, say panel has been used for 10 years or 15 years, जो scrap बनता है वो भी waste है. So all 3 categories of waste have been recognized. Okay, solar waste. Right now, next write down, the International Renewable Energy Agency. The International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency, has identified that 80% of solar panel components, has identified 80% of solar panel components, including glass, metal frames, are recyclable. ठीक है, तो ये एजेंसी कह रहा है कि 80% कैन बी रिसाइकल्ड. राइट डाउन, द फॉलोइंग आर recoverable materials from solar panels. The following are recoverable material from solar panels. Make a list. Glass, aluminium, copper, silicon, silver. इसके अलावा अलग से लिखो कॉपर, टेलुरियम, कॉपर, COPPR, कॉपर, टेलुरियम, TELLURIUM, कॉपर, टेलुरियम एंड कैडमियम. कॉपर, टेलुरियम एंड कैडमियम. सो ग्लास, सिल्वर, एल्यूमिनियम, सिलिकॉन, ये तो है ही. इसके अलावा वी हैव टेलुरियम, कॉपर एंड वी हैव कैडमियम. ये 3 है. दे आल्सो आर कॉल्ड एज क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स. They're also called as critical minerals, okay, which are part of India's strategic minerals development. ठीक है. So when I'm recovering, we can recover all of this. This can be an MCQ. Okay, identify which of the following are components of solar wastes. Next slide down. Presently, okay, the recovery and recycle of solar wastes. Presently, the recovery and recycle of solar waste is less than 5%. is less than 5%. Next, more than 2/3 of solar wastes, more than 2/3 of solar wastes comes from 5 states. Rajasthan is the largest one. Rajasthan, Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. In fact, Rajasthan and Gujarat, they together produce slightly less than 50% of India's solar waste. They produce slightly less than 50% of India's solar waste. Next, write down. Solar wastes management is covered under, solar waste management is covered under E-Waste Management Rules 2022. It's covered under E-Waste Management Rule 2022. Remember, any pollution thing, like any waste management, they come under Environment Protection Act of India. ये रूल जो है E-Waste Management, like EWM, E-Waste Management, like they come under, okay, Environment Protection Act 1986. 1986. So when we do environment in detail, I'll tell you all the laws we have for environment, forest, wildlife. Okay. So जैसे हमने कल बताया था plastic waste, वैसे ही we have solid wastes and we have e-wastes. Write down. Some categories of wastes, even if they are sourced from solar panels, from solar wastes, some categories of waste, even if they're sourced from solar power units, they are not categorized under the e-waste management. They are not categorized under e-waste management. What I mean by this is think कि solar panel है क्या आपने solar panel का एक packaging बनाया हुआ है, and the packaging includes plastic, then that comes under plastic waste management. Solar panels, solar systems के साथ में we have got batteries. Batteries don't come under e-waste. उनका अलग rule है. Write down. For example, battery wastes are regulated under battery waste management rules. Battery wastes are regulated under battery waste management rules 2022. Plastic packaging wastes are managed under Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016. Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016. ठीक है, ये दो हो गया. Next, write down. As mandated under e-waste management rules, EPR, extended producer responsibility, EPR is also applicable for solar wastes. EPR is also applicable under solar wastes. Under solar wastes EPR, PIBO. Now you know PIBO term, producers, importers and brand owners. PIBOs, okay, must compulsorily store the wastes, comma, and also file the details of the waste and also file the details of the waste on e-waste management portal. On the e-waste management portal up to 2034-35. Up to 2034-35. मतलब ये है, if you are generating the waste, okay, you cannot throw it. You have to collect it. If you can segregate it, fine, and then otherwise you must store it. You have to store it. As of now, it says up to 2034-35 store करना पड़ेगा. And the details of waste you generate must also be put on record on the e-waste management portal also. Okay, that's a short on the solar waste management. Fine, let's move on. The next topic in news is again a short one. LPA. LPA is long period average. LPA, long period average of rainfall. अभी बहुत news में है that the rainfall of India is going to be normal of LPA. LPA, long period average. Okay. So when we collect data for meteorology ho, weather ho, rainfall, temperature ho, we go by LPA. LPA is what? A 30 or 50 year average. So you take an average कि कितने year का average होना चाहिए. It is 30 or 50 year. India follows 50 years ka policy. Write down, 2 lines write down. It is the rainfall. It is the rainfall averaged over a long period. Rainfall averaged over the long period of 30 to 50 years. Of 30 to 50 years. Next point. IMD uses average of 50 years. IMD uses the average of 50 years. One. Next fact is, अब देखो, if you look at the average, say 50 years, then after 1 decade, another 50 years, another 1 decade, another 50 years. That's how we keep on shifting. And what they found was that the 50-year average rains of India is falling. Write down. The 50-year LPA rainfall of India has reduced. The 50-year LPA average of India has reduced. By the way, LPA जो है हर decade में they update. It's like they started with 1951, okay, up to 2000. Then 1961 से, okay, 50 years. Then 1971 से 50 years. That's how they have, so every decade they update. So in the first one, 51 से 2000 तक, the LPA of India was about 89 centimeters of southwest monsoon rains. India has rainfall southwest monsoon. India also has rainfall of northeast monsoon. India के जो rains हैं, the monsoon rains of India, we have got summer monsoon rains and we have got winter monsoon rains. The summer monsoon rains are called as southwest monsoon rains, or the winter wala, it's called as northeast monsoon rains. The more important rains of India are southwest monsoon rains. They make up almost 85% of India's rains. So 51 se 2000 tak, the average was 89 centimeters of southwest monsoon rains. In the next average, 2061 se 2010 wala jo tha, okay, now the average fell to 88 centimeters. And currently 71 से 2022 वाले में it has now become 86 or 86.8 centimeters. This is why it was in news, okay, that the average rainfall of India has been falling. It was 89 centimeters, rainfall you measure in centimeters. It became 88 centimeters, now it fall into 86.8, and the annual, ये तो सिर्फ southwest monsoon का है, the annual LPA of India for the entire year, the annual LP of India has fallen from 117 centimeters to 116 centimeters. 117 centimeters has fallen to 116 centimeters. ठीक है? So this is one. So fundamentally, the fall is related to climate change, El Nino and La Nina cycles. लिख लो. The fall of rainfall is related to climate change, global warming. Okay, because of El Nino and La Nina cycles, El Nino and La Nina cycles, and so on. Okay. Now, what do you mean by normal rains? What do you mean by deficit rains? Write down. Write down. According to IMD, if the variation is within 10%, if the variation of rainfall is within 10%, it is normal rains. It is normal rains. ठीक है? Next. If it is below 10%, okay, then it's called as deficit rains. It's called as deficit rains. Above 10%, it's called as excess rains. So, plus or minus 10% के variation को हम बोलते हैं, it is normal rains. Less than 10%, it is deficient, and more than 10%, it is excess rains. So 2024, this year, we're expecting normal monsoons. ठीक है? Less than 10%, okay, deficit from the average. Acha, you're confusing between deficit and droughts. ठीक है? Droughts अलग चीज है. हमें होना चाहिए 100 और वो 90 से कम हो गया सेंटीमीटर्स, तो कम हुआ ना इससे. हाँ, तो प्लस माइनस के रेंज के अंदर ये आपका एवरेज है, ये माइनस है और ये प्लस है, इसके अंदर इट इज नॉर्मल. इससे कम होगा डेफिसिट, इससे ज्यादा होगा एक्सेस. दैट्स ऑल, बिग डील. ओके, दैट्स द सेकंड कंसेप्ट. थर्ड वन, जस्ट नो अ फैक्ट. इसको अलग रखना, अगेन कोरल रीफ पे है. देयर इज अ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कॉल्ड एज NOAA, okay, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, a body called as NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It is a specialized agency, okay, of the US, a specialized agency of the US, and it has noted that 2023-24, starting from February 23 up to April 24, okay, we have recorded the fourth global event of mass coral bleaching. So we have been recording coral bleaching. Coral bleaching is what? The corals are dying. Okay. Lot of bleaching is also normal. It's like, death in life. People dying is normal. People born is also normal. But when people die because of unnatural circumstances, that's some other problem. Pandemic unnatural ho gaya. Accidents unnatural ho gaya. So coral bleaching is very normal. But in some years, the bleaching has been massive. And that is a global catastrophic event. So since the time we have been recording, last maybe couple of decades से, we've identified 3 major bleaching हुआ है world में. One big one was in 1998 also. Okay, but now they are saying that we are experiencing the 4th biggest bleaching. Right, further, that the 4th bleaching is the 2nd one in the last 10 years. It is the 2nd one in the last 10 years. And it has been a global phenomena. It has been a global phenomena across Indian, Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. Across Indian, Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. One of the widest bleaching has been, has been in the Indian Ocean. In the Indian Ocean and off Indonesia coast. And off OFF, off Indonesia coast. Okay. So that's one fact you had to know. Another fact, something about bridge fuel. एक folder होना चाहिए, energy वाला होना चाहिए. Okay, I said folders of forest, biodiversity, okay, pollution. वैसे have one folder on, okay, alternate and renewable energy. इसमें अलग रखना एक folder. You write separately in notebook, go back or pages, back home you can put in a folder. The topic I'm taking up is the concept called as bridge fuel. What is bridge fuel? So, as of now, if you recall that bulk of the world and India also, we depend on coal and we depend on oil. And we want to move towards solar, move towards wind. Ultimately, all of this will become part of, okay, electric mobility, electric vehicles and so on. So from fossil fuel, this is called as fossil fuel. We are moving towards renewable and clean energy. इसमें कि emissions zero होता है. In the transition, we need one fuel, okay, because see, to wait कि सारा solar बन जाएगा, and then we can shift towards from coal, it will take a long time. So while transition happens, some energy can go towards this and some energy can go towards this. Like ultimately from here also, you'll go towards this. So ये जो transition source of energy है, it's called as the bridge fuel. Okay, so write 2 lines here. Write 2 lines that the bridge fuel is a source of energy, that can replace the fossil fuel energy sources, as a transition and relatively cleaner source. As a transition and as a relatively cleaner source. Okay. So this is still polluting, but this is less polluting than this. This still has environmental problems, but the quantum of energy problems here is less than what we have here. Okay. So transition, okay, type of energy hai. Write down. Natural gas has been identified as a bridge fuel. Identified as a bridge fuel, and it is a fossil fuel and also non-renewable. ये भी fossil है. Fossil and also non-renewable. Fossil means what? Okay, it is sourced from some type of organisms. Okay, coal comes from forests, oil and gas comes from marine organisms. Okay, So that's why it's called as fossil. So ये भी fossil fuel है. It also has pollutants. It also is non-renewable, but considered as a bridge fuel. क्या reason है? लिख रहा down. Natural gas. By the way, what is the main composition of natural gas? Methane. Yes. Natural gas is 70 to 90% methane. Is 70 to 90% methane, along with ethane and propane. Along with ethane and propane. It can also have impurities like carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Like carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, both are greenhouse sources, gases, and nitrogen. It can have carbon dioxide as impurities. It can have hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and also nitrogen as impurities. Let's say down. The advantage of natural gas is, it has high calorific value. It has high calorific value. It can give more energy. And it emits 50% less carbon dioxide. It emits 50% less carbon dioxide. Okay, this is one fact. Another fact is that in the vehicular energy, vehicles mein, ammonia is also considered as a bridge fuel. Ammonia is also considered as a bridge fuel. Because ammonia has very high energy density. Means same amount of ammonia can release more energy. It has very high energy density. And ammonia has near zero carbon dioxide emissions. It has near zero carbon dioxide emissions. अगर थोड़ा बहुत कार्बन होगा as impurities अलग बात, otherwise it does not have CO2 emissions. That's why it's okay. However, okay, ammonia as a fuel is not completely clean. However, ammonia as a fuel is not completely clean. Why? Number one, because okay, it can release unburnt ammonia. The exhaust hoga, it's called as tail emissions. The exhaust can have unburnt ammonia. The exhaust can emit nitrogen oxides, which are pollutants and also greenhouse substances. So CO2 नहीं आएगा, but nitrogen आएगा. Nitrogen oxides as wastes. They also are pollutants and they also are greenhouse substances. Apart from this, okay, nitrogen release can also create tropospheric ozone. Which is toxic and also a greenhouse substance. Okay? So ammonia, so remember, ammonia as a source of energy, ammonia is NH3. इसका advantage क्या है? There is no CO2. But इसका disadvantage है, it can have unburnt ammonia, which is a pollutant. It can give us nitrogen oxides, we call that as NOx. ये भी pollutants हैं. इसके अलावा it can give us some nitrogen, which can form ozone gas. This is a problem. Plus what happens is that ammonia production relies on a process called Haber-Bosch process. On a process called as Haber, B-O-S-C-H, Haber-Bosch process. which consumes lot of energy and fossil fuels. Which consumes lot of energy and fossil fuel. What I'm saying is, पहले you will manufacture an ammonia, then this ammonia is used in the cars, and the car ka exhaust jo hai, this is now clean. So car has become clean. But to produce ammonia, okay, this process can give out lot of pollutants, this can give out lot of carbon dioxide. So basically इसको बोलते हैं displacing pollution बोलते हैं कि pollution यहाँ हो रहा था, यहाँ नहीं करके आप यहाँ कर रहे हो pollution. This is not actually solving the problem. Okay, so production is not a clean process. Write down. There are technologies which can produce green ammonia, using renewable energy. So if I produce ammonia by another process which is renewable energy, तो एक source of ammonia is you have to use fossil fuel. एक और source of ammonia is use renewable energy. This ammonia is called as green ammonia. But it is very, very costly and not scalable. Green ammonia is expensive and it is not scalable. So essentially I'm discussing the concept called as bridge fuel. So bridge fuel is natural gas. Bridge fuel for automobiles can be ammonia, but these are some of the problems. Okay? So that's about this concept. Let's move on. Next concept is keep it miscellaneous. Okay. Miscellaneous में लिखो. Lay down. According to University of Oxford, give a heading, environment and human rights. Environment and human rights. What has happened is that some universities across the world have taken a lead to write a petition to International Criminal Court, ICC, that environmental crimes must be considered as crimes against humanity. So we have got, you've heard about genocides, or think of use of biological weapons. Okay, we call them as crimes against humanity. They are saying even the environmental crimes we commit. Sometimes we have done some harm, though we know it is an environmental problem, but we keep quiet. Think of pollution. A lot of industries pollute the water and the land, and the pollution can cause cancer. The pollution can cause maybe some kind of birth abnormalities. So they are saying that these kind of crimes, they are not any offense. They must be considered as crimes against humanity, and they must be tried in the criminal court of justice. Okay? So ये point लिख रहे हैं that according to University of Oxford and some of the leading human rights, some of the leading human rights agencies have written jointly to ICC. ICC is International Criminal Court. To ICC, okay, to deal with environmental degradation, as a crime against humanities, and linked to human rights violation. Right, next, this is a step towards recognizing step towards recognizing right to clean, healthy, sustainable environment. Right to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment as a human rights. Right to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment as human rights. इसको हम लिखते हैं also as R2HE. Right to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. R2HE is being considered as a human rights also. Okay? That's a fact you should know. It's not accorded as of now, but this is the appeal that we have. What was that, Shivam? Yes, Shivam, correct. To produce green ammonia, we must also produce green hydrogen, correct. वो लंबा chain होता है, you're right. Okay. Fine, all of you? This is an appeal. Now, you must know two things, okay, or two concepts linked to this. One concept is, in India, okay, Indian Constitution implicitly acknowledges environment, clean environment as part of right to life. Article 21. Implicit है. According to Indian Constitution, okay, implicitly it has acknowledged that, okay, clean environment, water, air, forests, it's part of a right to life under Article 21. Okay? So Article 21, right to life and liberty. Under right to life, education bhi hai. Under right to life, food bhi hai. Now talking about right to life also includes maybe employment also, livelihood also. Iske andar mein environment is implicit. That's one. And the second fact you should know is the difference between ICC and ICJ. ये एक mistake हो जाता है. ICC is International Criminal Court. This is International Court of Justice. Okay. इसके headquarters कहाँ पर है? The Hague. ये वाला भी The Hague में है. Okay. ICC and ICJ. The appeal is that right to clean, healthy environment, okay, was written to ICC, not ICJ. ये एक mistake हो जाता है. Okay. So write down a few lines about ICJ. Okay, about ICC के बारे में लिखो. Write some facts here. Okay. First is that ICC is the world's first permanent, it is world's first permanent international criminal court. First permanent criminal court. Remember, iske pehle many of the crimes, they were taken up by, okay, tribunals. Tribunals are special courts made for a particular purpose. Say, for example, Ukraine के problems के लिए I can have a tribunal only for crimes against humanity in Ukraine. The problem is solved, it is now taken apart. After World War II, I could have a special tribunal only for the World War II atrocities by Axis or Allied, whatever. So, ये पहली बार we have a permanent court for criminal issues. That's one point. Second point, it has been set up under Rome Statute. Under Rome, R-O-M-E, Rome Statute, S-T-A-T-U-T-E. एक type का document है, agreement है. Based on that, we have established ICC under Rome Statute. Next slide down. It deals with 1, 2, 3, 4 points. It deals with gravest crimes of concern. It deals with gravest crimes of concern like genocide, war crimes, like genocide or war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes of aggression. It deals with genocide. I think you know what genocides are. The mass killing of entire population is called a genocide. Genocide, war crimes. So we know of wars where the forces have committed crimes against women or children. We call those as war crimes. Okay, and crimes against humanity in general, wo war mein ho nahi ho. Okay, plus some crimes of aggression, like say what Russia has done, it can be seen as a crime of aggression. ठीक है? तो इसमें हम ऐड करना चाह रहे हैं the crimes as a consequence of environmental degradation. अच्छा. The next fact, India is not a party to Rome Statute. India is not a party to Rome Statute. It has not signed ICC. It has not signed the ICC. Okay, along with US and China. Along with US and China. Next fact is ICC is not a UN organization. वो UN का organization नहीं है. It is not an UN organization. But it has been set up under a cooperation agreement. It has been set up under a cooperation agreement. ठीक है? इसके अलावा, if there is some act which is not a part of the ICC jurisdiction, so आपके एक list होगा, okay, that this are the crimes under this one, but of course as act है, something has happened which is not in the jurisdiction, then the UN can refer it to ICC. If UN says, for example, say a crime called as X. I have a list of crimes. It includes A, B, C, D. उसमें X है नहीं. But the countries want that this X should also be referred to. Then the UN can refer this X to ICC, and ICC can pass a judgment. Write down. If a situation or an event, is not within ICC jurisdiction, is not within the ICC jurisdiction, the UN Security Council can refer it to ICC. The UN Security Council can refer it to the ICC. This has been done in case of Darfur in Sudan. Last year we had this Sudan war. This has been done in the case of Darfur, D-A-R-F-U-R, Darfur in Sudan, and also for events in Libya. Next, India is not a party to ICC because India ने क्या reason दिया? Why did India not sign the Rome Statute? India is not a party to ICC because there are sovereignty issues. Okay. There's difficulty in collection of evidences. वो हमेशा gray area रहेगा. Difficulty in collection of evidences. Difficulty in defining a crime. And the difficulty in finding impartial prosecutors. impartial prosecutors. Okay, whoever run the persecution, they are not always impartial. India said that's why we don't want to enter this. And for your note, remember that ICJ, International Court of Justice, ICJ hai, it is one of the arms of UN. You know, unlike ICC, ICJ is one of the principal organs of UN. Principal organs of UN. ठीक है, ICJ can only take up national issues, or conflict between countries. Can take up national issues or conflicts between countries. ICJ ruling में. But ICC can also prosecute individuals. ठीक है, ये कुछ differences हैं between ICC and ICJ. India is a member of ICJ, okay, but not a part of Rome Statute for ICC. ठीक है, so that's one more topic done. Next, there is something in news around disaster response funds. Let me explain this to you. Dekho, we have a National Disaster Management Act. Okay. Under this act was passed in 2005. इस act के अंदर में we have identified a structure of what the disaster management must look like. कौन authority होगा, उसका क्या secretariat होगा. So there is a structure which has been established. The head of this system will be National Disaster Management Authority, which is headed by the PM. Okay, so structure bana. Under NDA में we established National Disaster Management Force, National Disaster Response Force, NDRF. एक force is a special paramilitary force. ये हमने बनाया. Okay. Under this we said that we must also have disaster funds होना चाहिए. Okay, this is one of the new acts. India was among the first countries to develop this act. Okay, National Disaster Management Act. इस act के अंदर में we have a structure for disaster management. We have a force in place. It's called as National Disaster Response Force. Okay, a specialized force है. इसके अलावा it also talks about funds. Now in these funds there is something called as National Disaster Mitigation Fund और एक है National Disaster Response Fund. Okay, the response fund, the word response is कि after disaster rescue work, rehabilitation work, reconstruction work, roads बना दो, घर टूट गया रिपेयर कर लो, repair the bridges, give the people the relief, give them medicines. Somebody must spend for that, right? That's called as the response fund. Okay. Mitigation fund is a long-term fund. ये short-term fund होगा. This is a short-term fund. A long-term fund is called as the mitigation fund. The mitigation fund will talk about long-term technology for forecasting, long-term infrastructure building, research work you need to do to find out disaster vulnerability. Okay, so he talked about two types of funds, mitigation fund and response fund. when the act was done, the response fund was created. We already had National Calamities Fund. Okay, National Calamities Relief Fund हमारे पास था. This fund automatically became NDRF. Okay, but mitigation fund हमने नहीं बनाया था till as late as 2021-2022 तक. This was one of those issues which was highlighted, okay, by the CAG of India. Imagine आपने act बनाया है 2005 में, okay, you have spent almost 20 years and you have got no long-term mitigation fund. इसके लिए पैसा कहाँ से आता था? It was come from contingency fund of India. I hope some of you know this, others will learn eventually. India is one of the most disaster vulnerable countries of the world. High density, large population, 1.4 billion log hain, earthquakes, cyclones, floods, droughts, landslides, heat waves, name it, we have it. Okay, and imagine a country not having this at all. But we had made this. इसका भी दो पार्ट है, एक नेशनल वाला है और एक स्टेट डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फंड है. Okay, so for all these years we have been working with this but not this. What happened, news इसलिए था because when we had this cyclone, okay, in Tamil Nadu and also impacting Karnataka mein, the center did not release funds for the states. So the states had to go to Supreme Court to tell them to release the funds. That's why it was in news. तो वो तो ऐसे नहीं पूछेगा, but you must know the entire this system of funding and how the mitigation is done. The trigger was that Tamil Nadu and Karnataka had to go to the Supreme Court to get their share of NDRF support. Okay, but you should also know what's happening otherwise as a part of your disaster funds. Okay, I give the background story, all of you. Write down some facts now. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first fact is India has National Disaster Management Act 2005. India has National Disaster Management Act 2005. Under the act, there is a provision for disaster response fund. There is a provision for disaster response fund and disaster mitigation fund. Provision for disaster response fund and disaster mitigation fund. Response fund is a short-term fund for post-disaster interventions. It's a short-term fund for post-disaster interventions. और mitigation fund जो है, it's a long-term fund. It's a long-term fund for research, development, long-term infrastructure construction, for long-term infrastructure construction. Okay. For developing technologies, for forecasting, etc. Okay. Next slide now. At the time of the Act, 2005 mein, at the time of the Act, the response funds were created. वो बन चुका. Oh, this is not NCRF, it says NCCF, sorry. Were created. Essentially, NCCF. NCCF is National Calamities Contingency Fund. NCCF is National Calamities Contingency Fund. It was converted into, okay, response funds. It was converted into NDRF, National Disaster Response Fund. In addition, SDRF was also created. SDRF is State Disaster Response Fund. Along with NDRF, SDRF was also created. And within bracket write down, the center contributes 75% the center contributes 75% to SDRF. Okay. For general states and UTs, 75% for general states and UTs, and 90% contribution for special category states, and 90% contribution for special category states. Special categories में you have the Himalayan states, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh territories, Uttaranchal, Himachal, Sikkim, okay. The northeastern, we call these as special. इसमें 90% contribution center करता है, remaining 10% is from the states. ठीक है? अच्छा, next fact लिख लो आप. The mitigation funds were created after 15th Finance Commission recommendations. Was created after 15 Finance Commission recommendations in 2021-22. In 2021-2022. Okay. The 15th Finance Commission has recommended, right next, the 15th Finance Commission has recommended that the response funds and the mitigation funds, the response funds and the mitigation funds should be together called as National Disaster Risk Management Funds. National Disaster Risk Management Funds. So we have National Disaster Risk Management Funds and we have State Disaster Risk Management Funds. This includes NDMF plus NDRF, and this includes SDMF plus SDRF. So these two have been put together, okay, and called as Risk Management Fund, and this put together as state. ये recommendation है of, okay, the 15th Finance Commission. ठीक है? That's in news, you might know, and just know this fact that Tamil Nadu and Karnataka had to move Supreme Court. Tamil Nadu and Karnataka had to move a Supreme Court, okay, seeking funds for calamities like floods, droughts, and cyclone Michaung, Michaung. This impacted them in 23. So floods, cyclone and droughts 23 ke against me, the state claimed the Supreme Court to help them with the funds from the center. And then of course, with 3,000 crores, the Supreme Court was, the center ultimately supported them with. Okay. So that's the fact. Next, the next fact, forest के अंदर आएगा अलग से paper में. Just know some names. There is a body called as Global Forest Watch. Small 2 lines वाले. Global Forest Watch. It is an open source web application. It is an open source web application for monitoring global forests. A web application for monitoring global forests using real-time satellite data. Using real-time satellite data. It's a project of Washington-based NGO. It's a project of Washington-based NGO called World Resource Institute, WRI. Okay, and the data is compiled by the University of Maryland. The data is compiled by the University of Maryland. Okay, the World Global Forest Watch. इसे न्यूज में है because न्यूज में क्यों है write down? According to GFW, India has lost 2.33 million hectares of forests, of trees. India has lost 2.33 million hectares of trees since 2000. Since 2000. Most trees have been part of a humid primary forests. They are part of humid primary forests. Okay. The 5 states which have lost more than 60% of all tree cover, 5 states that account for, the 5 states that account for 60% of all tree cover loss. They account for all tree cover loss are Assam, Mizoram, in decreasing order. Assam is maximum, Assam, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Manipur. Nagaland and Manipur. Okay, that's one fact. एक और fact है that India has lost 35,900 hectares of tree cover due to fire. Between 2002 to 2022. 35,900 hectares of tree cover due to fire between 2002 and 22, and the highest rate of fire loss, is for Odisha. Followed by Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Assam. Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Assam. Okay, so that's one fact. Next, one more quick term that you should know. ये part of agriculture है. Take another page. You must carry enough loose sheets, please. अगर नहीं है तो friend से पूछ लो. An agriculture term in news is PAIRA, P-A-I-R-A. PAIRA, agriculture term है. P-A-I-R-A. PAIRA or okay, UTERA. UTERA. PAIRA or UTERA. Relay cropping. PAIRA or UTERA, same name. P-A-I-R-A. PAIRA, also called as UTERA. Relay cropping. Okay, I'll just mention some terms to you. देखो, एक term है called as okay, mixed cropping. What is mixed cropping? Mixed cropping का मतलब होता है 2 or 3 crops which are grown together. Mixed cropping. Okay. There is a term called mixed agriculture. Mixed cropping is 2 or more crops grown together. Then we have a term called as mixed agriculture. This is crops plus non-crops. Crop के साथ में livestock, poultry, fisheries or honey bee, we call that as mixed agriculture. Then we have a term called as intercrop. Intercrop, sometimes we also call this as strip farming. What's happened is in alternate rows, ये एक row है, एक और बीच में एक row है. Another row of crops and one more row here. one more crop, row of crops, one more here. So cotton, groundnut, cotton, groundnut. Okay, we call this as intercropping or a strip, okay, cropping. It's called as intercropping or strip cropping. Okay, the two crops are grown together. So this is one type of mixed cropping. और एक term है relay cropping. Relay cropping. What happens in relay cropping is, say I have a crop on the field. Just before I harvest it, say 4 months of cropping, maybe 15-20 days before harvesting, I will sow another crop and then harvest this. It's like in a relay race. When I'm running, before I stop, I pass the baton, the guy runs and then I stop. Okay. So relay cropping में advantage क्या होता है? The land is never kept barren. हमेशा land में कुछ ना कुछ crop होगा. Okay. So before harvesting for 2 weeks, one small seed you have put, it has become a small sapling and then the first crop is harvested. Okay. ये techniques of farming है. So this utera or the pyra cropping, this is one type of relay cropping. It's one type of relay cropping. Write down. इसमें क्या करते हैं क्या write down? Okay. It's practiced in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Chhattisgarh and Odisha. In this, what's done is pulses. Pulses like lentil. Lentil is what? Masoor. Pulses like lentil or moong dal. Green, okay, gram. Lentil, moong or black gram, urad dal. Okay. Any type of pulse, dal, urad, or also called as black gram. Black gram is idli dosa wala, okay? So lentil is called as masoor. Lentil or moong. Moong is called as green gram. Okay. Or urad. Urad is called as black gram. Okay. The pulses are grown along with rice. They're grown along with rice. Okay. 2 weeks before the harvest of rice. 2 weeks before the harvest of rice. It uses a technique called as broadcasting. It uses a technique called as broadcasting. What's the meaning of the word broadcasting? Basically, seeds go up, you'll throw. So you have got a farm of rice crops. The farmers will walk between the rice and throw the seeds in between. And these will become small saplings, small germinations. Then the rice is harvested. Head down. This technique helps preserve soil moisture. It helps preserve soil moisture. And it increases the yield of, lentils and pulses. Lentils and pulses. इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम ये है, प्रॉब्लम की कंसर्न ये है, देखो, when you have done this, you cannot use machines in harvesting the rice. Like, you cannot have large scale fertilizer application either, because फिर rice impact हो जाएगा. Okay, write down. In this technique, okay, interventions like tillage, मतलब plowing. आप plowing नहीं कर सकते इसमें. Interventions like tillage, T-I-L-L-A-G-E, tillage, weeding, irrigation, machine harvesting cannot be allowed. ये बहुत मैनुअल लेबर होता है इसमें. Okay, मैनुअल लेबर. And because you can't allow all of this type of farming is used in organic farming. No fertilizers you cannot throw like that. You can't use pesticides on this. You can't use machines on this. This is one type of natural and organic farming. Pyra. By the way, I'll ask a question to all of you. You know what's tilling or plowing? Why does a farmer plow the land? Why does the farmer plow the land? Okay. हम हल क्यों चलाते हैं? Yeah, so there are two main reasons. One is the soil is broken up. Okay. And second is the soil में air mix हो जाता है. Aeration के लिए होता है. Okay. So if you can't plow the land, is it good or bad? Okay. So plowing is what we need, right? So if you can't plow the land, वो good है कि bad है? And that is an issue. There is one technique of farming called as, सुना होगा आपने, zero tillage. ये सुना है आपने? इसमें plowing नहीं किया जाता है. So traditionally we have seen that plowing is what we have been doing. But one school of thought says plowing is bad. What happens in plowing is there are some natural organisms that they die. What happens in plowing is the water evaporation is higher. जो पानी होगा आपने मिला दिया and it can now evaporate very quickly. So in organic farming, one of the suggestion is zero tillage, means no plowing. इसमें आप हल ना चलाओ. Okay, so although traditionally we have been knowing that plowing is good because it helps mix air, plowing breaks the clod of the soil, it becomes more and more finer. It's easy for the plants to grow. But one more school of thought says that zero tillage is better. Okay, so in that sense, Pyra is zero tillage farming. ठीक है? Pyra is zero tillage farming. Pyra is natural and organic farming also. इसमें आप regular agricultural practices you can't apply here. You can't have interventions like I said, fertilizer, pesticides, irrigation, ये सब नहीं कर सकते आप. ठीक है? So that is one term I have discussed. Global Forest Watch. अच्छा. Now some species quickly. One species is caracal, C-A-R-A-C-A-L. It's one type of a cat. Caracal, C-A-R-A-C-A-L, caracal. Caracal is also called as Siyagosh, S-I-Y-A-C-O-S-H. Siyagosh. It's a Persian word. Siya means black. Gosh means ears. It has black ears. Caracal is one type of cat, wild cat, also called Siyagosh. It is nocturnal in the night time. It's nocturnal. Okay. Its habitat is woodlands, savanna and scrub forest. Woodlands, savanna like grasslands and scrub forest. Found across Africa, Middle East, Central and South Asia. Central and South Asia. In India, you find it in Central India, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, parts of Malwa Plateau, Aravalli Hills. Okay, so that's caracal. Apart from this, one new butterfly called as Neptis, N-E-P-T-I-S, Neptis. Okay. Philyra, P-H-I-L-Y-R-A, Neptis Philyra, P-H-I-L-Y-R-A. A rare butterfly found first time in India. A rare butterfly found first time in India. It was found in Tale Valley Wildlife Sanctuary, TALE, Tale Valley Wildlife Sanctuary. It is in Arunachal Pradesh. यहाँ पर जो रिवर्स हैं, रिवर्स आर सुबनश्री रिवर, पंगे रिवर, PANGE, सुबनश्री रिवर, पंगे रिवर. यहाँ पे कुछ ट्राइब्स रहते हैं कॉल्ड एज अपातनी ट्राइब्स, APATANI, अपातनी ट्राइब्स. Okay, and these birds, this butterfly's habitat is alpine forests. Alpine forests, जिसमें कि फर है, फर ट्रीज, बैम्बू, rhododendrons. अच्छा, now this butterfly is also called as long streak sailor. Long streak sailor. Okay. One last fact, ये miscellaneous में जाएगा. Something called as otolith, OTOLITH. Miscellaneous में, miscellaneous का no organization, 1, 2, 3, 4 is listed down. Otolith. Oto means, yeah, watch, Oto means ear. Lith means a rock. In this case, it is a bone. So there are bones in the ear. There's one fish. इसका fish का जो bone है in the ear is very hard, shiny. It is used as ornaments. Okay, so write down here. Fish otolith. Fish otoliths are fish ear stones. The fish ear stones. Okay, it is used to make ornaments. Used to make ornaments by fishermen, by fisherwomen in Vizhinjam, VIZHI, NJAM, VIZHINJAM, Vizhinjam. This is a place in Kerala. A place in Kerala. Okay, and they have been trained by Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Oh, I forgot this one. Go back to wildlife species में. The Great Indian Bustard, GIB. The Great Indian Bustard. It's a flightless bird, it can't fly. It's a flightless bird. Belongs to grassland ecology and dry regions. Found in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and some in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra also. Now, you should remember the smaller states also. This is what they do. GIB found in which states? Most of us will know they are found in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Rajasthan ka ye state bird hai, correct. Okay, and Gujarat mein is fairly good amount of number. But many will not know they are found also in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. You better know these states also. Gujarat, Rajasthan, MP, Maharashtra, okay, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh. And in news, because many of these birds have died because of overhead transmission lines. That because of overhead transmission lines. So we have Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, may we have the Desert National Park. Okay. In Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, that region we have Desert National Park, and GIB is conserved under the Desert National Park. Okay, so that's about environment of the month of April and part of May. Right? Okay, so now let's get back to our other activity. Yeah, online, I hope you all, Siya Ghosh, G-O-S-H. It's a Persian word, Siya Ghosh. Okay, online, offline students. Offline students, you should have got a set of articles. We give you printouts if you're online, offline. And online guys, you should have got the link. Please check your chat. Okay, you'll have a link. You can download the articles from there. Okay. So there's the article around coal energy, the article around mangroves, environment, energy, article on juvenile justice. एक उठाया मैंने पुराना article because of this Pune thing, that Porsche car running over the two people. एक पुराना issue रहा है where there has been debate about should juveniles be tried under juvenile laws or maybe under regular laws. Okay, because this boy who has committed the crime in Pune was few months short of 18. Okay, so ये debate रहा है. Okay, so that I have shown you. Okay, then we have one article also on IR, para diplomacy. आपके पास नहीं है? बाहरी होगा. You can check with Avnish. I don't have a copy here. One of you can go and others can tell them. बोल दो उनको कि 3-4 ले आए. So online students, have you downloaded that article set? Online, can you confirm? Yeah? Okay, fine. I hope all of you can access. Yeah, Ganesh, 1 minute. Can you all confirm if you have downloaded? The link is on the chat. If one of you can maybe paste that again. I've pinned the message. Yes. Asmit, did you find the link now? Thanks, Mani. Yes? Okay. So take your printout at your convenience. So I can't read all of them. We are a bit late. Okay. जो mangrove का article है, ये अपने आप, it's a very good article, mangroves. It's like a mother article. You can keep a copy of that in any answer of mangroves. ये लिख के आ जाना. क्या importance है, कहाँ मिलता है, and all of that. Okay. So I will read one article of C. Raja Mohan, A Time for Para Diplomacy. Can you all see my board now? On my screen? Okay. So let me explain once what we are doing for those who joined us later. Apart from knowing current affair in terms of facts, number, the way we are doing, you all must acquire some reading skills also. Okay, आपको article पढ़ना आना चाहिए. And all of this will also help you in your passage reading of ethics, It'll help you in reading of comprehension of CSAT also. ठीक है, plus you get to think something. कुछ concepts हैं, ठीक है? That's the whole idea. And I will have a mix. We have done couple of book readings also earlier, plus some articles of common interest. Okay? So today I have taken up this article for IR, and you should know the writer. Raja Mohan is a very famous name. Okay, 22nd May and Indian Express. And you can quote this man also when you have answers based opinion. You can say Raja Mohan says this. He's an authority, okay, on issues of IR. So let's start off with a concept called as para-diplomacy. So para-diplomacy hota hai kya hai? Any type of diplomacy or something around foreign relation which is not done by the state authorities. And when I mean by that, government of India nahi kar raha hai. There are sub-national, there could be organizations, there could be some NGOs, there could be individuals. Okay, it can be a sports body also. It can be diaspora also. So relationship between two countries are not always the consequence of the formal talks between the governments. India's foreign ministry talking to maybe China's foreign ministry. That's called as formal state-to-state diplomacy. But then we can have para-diplomacy. Maybe think of the Mukesh Ambani talking to maybe somebody in US. Or maybe one NGO of India, like Pratham in education, talking to maybe Finland and developing something. Or maybe Indian diaspora, people of Indian origin, they become pressure groups. Or maybe BCCI, Cricket Board of India. It does something where they start off maybe India-Pakistan relation in some ways. So any diplomacy that is not done by the state or government institutions at the federal level, but done at sub-national level, done by agencies, individuals, diaspora, okay, we call that as para-diplomacy. So maybe think of this condition, maybe our rock star, Baba Ramdev, okay, he goes into some diplomacy. Okay, Biden ko Ayurveda khila kar, we convinced Biden that India should get all F-16 aeroplanes. For example, if we have an Ayurveda for that purpose. Okay? Or maybe we have sent another rock star, okay, Sadhguru ji ko bhej diya, and he could convince, okay, Putin not to fight the war. Okay? India mein ho sakta hai, koi problem nahi hai. Okay? So, divine power India mein bahut zyada hai. We can start sharing that. So if that happens, we call that as para-diplomacy. And we are seeing this. We are seeing relationship between large MNCs. Okay, Reliance and Microsoft collaborate and develop something. Okay, we can have relationship between TCS and maybe Facebook, and that can impact India's policy itself. Okay? So now we are saying that it's time that we start exploring, और ये नया concept नहीं है. Diaspora of India, in fact, I'll say one of the biggest achievements of Vajpayee government was he was able to use Indian people origin, people of Indian origin as a part of diplomacy. The Parvasi Bharat Awards, okay, requests for overseas Indian citizenship, talking about dual citizenship also. If we can do that, it becomes part of para-diplomacy. Okay? Uski baat. And very importantly, what happens is, even the states can get involved. States ka matlab hai West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, the state of Kashmir maybe, or Gujarat maybe. And we know they can influence. Like Tamil Nadu has influenced India's policy for Sri Lankan Tamils. West Bengal does influence India's policy for Teesta water sharing. Punjab has influenced some aspects of Kartarpur Sahib corridor between India and Pakistan. So ऐसा कुछ अगर हो सकता है, say Nagaland, Manipur get together, some collaboration with Myanmar maybe. This article talks about that. As a part of IR, this is a good discussion. Okay? Or a straight question बन सकता है. It says, in its manifesto, okay, so you all read with me. in its manifesto issued last week, Shiromani Akali Dal SAD promised to get back Kartarpur Sahib, the final resting place of Guru Nanak, less than 5 kilometers across the Pakistan border. This might sound as rash as BJP leaders promise to bring Pakistan POK into Indian fold. Okay, it's a very strong word. Okay, देखो कुछ चीजें ना, it is for the public to hear. Okay, it is an electoral campaign thing. Absurd, because India के लीडर को भी पता है और पाकिस्तान के लीडर्स को भी पता है, okay, कि लोगों को घुमाना होता है basically. So a lot of acts we think are stupid, but imagine the leader is doing it for the people who probably are not as smart again. ठीक है? So our defense minister, बहुत बात हो रहा है कि India will take POK back. Okay, it's like पड़ा हुआ है उठा लेते हैं वहां से. Okay, उसका consequences can be humongous. एक तो आप pressure बनाए रखो, that's a different thing. Second, saying that we will get it, and unfortunately, if we actually start a campaign for it, okay, that's why he says a very rash thing. But ठीक है, it makes a sense of vote. So SAD saying, Punjab ka party saying, it will take Kartarpur corridor back from Pakistan is equally rash. Okay. However, it says, okay, SAD is promising to work with center to negotiate of exchange of territory with Pakistan, like in return of Kartarpur Sahib. मतलब हम कुछ दे देंगे और करतारपुर साहब वापस ले लेंगे. I do not know what you want to give there. Okay, fine. मैंने कहा 2-3 politicians को ही दे दो. Okay, okay. I don't know if they will take, because they have their own set of jokers with them. I do not know if they can take some from our side. Okay. Anyways, let's see. Skeptics would be quick to dismiss these ideas. Changing the territorial status quo along the Radcliffe line in Punjab or winning back POK, either peacefully or through the use of force, might not be impossible, but quite hard. Reopening the territorial settlement in Punjab might be a nightmare few would want to think of. Getting POK out of the grip of nuclear-armed Pakistan will be a bigger challenge. Essentially, okay, it's saying that it looks very, very impossible. More practical than reworking the territorial disposition of Punjab's boundary or erasing the line of control in Kashmir, okay, in these frontiers, is changing the nature of the frontiers that have long been zones of military confrontation and not commercial cooperation. Now, this is an important point. What it's saying is, rather than changing the status, कि भाई ये land हमें दे तो ये ना आप ले लो, और change the boundary, इससे आसान है तो उस territory का nature change कर दो. Okay, it's like, you know, this is the boundary of India and Pakistan. To say that I will take this and you take this, it's very, very tough. But what if ये line ऐसे ही रखो? We have one area here, we have one area here. Maybe we can put them together and work something out. We can call this as some kind of an international SEZ, call this as an international wildlife sanctuary, call this as a world project, maybe some kind of infrastructure. हम वो कर सकते हैं. So we can have, rather than changing the boundary status, he says, we can have some kind of a cooperation here. I'm repeating this. More practical than reworking the territorial disposition of Punjab boundary or erasing the line of Punjab is changing the nature of these frontiers that have long been zones of military confrontation and not commercial cooperation. That is why the push for cross-border trade with Pakistan is important. SAD also demands reopening of Atari and Hussaini Wala border with Pakistan for trade and tourism to usher in economic prosperity. I hope you know where Atari border is. Atari border, Amritsar se aage jaoge, Wagah village hai. The border is called as Atari. Atari village and Wagah border rather. Okay. And where is Hussaini Wala? Aur niche aoge, Firozpur hai. The Firozpur border is Hussaini Wala. This is the birthplace of Shahid Bhagat Singh. Okay. A lot of monuments are still here dedicated to Shahid Bhagat Singh. Hussaini Wala. Hussaini Wala is in Firozpur, to niche aake, southern Punjab. Okay, and Atari or Wagah is alongside Amritsar. Amritsar goes straight. Okay, you have Atari border. So apart from this Qatarpur corridor, we have Atari border, Husainiwala also we can negotiate. Okay, fine. The problem here is not with India, but with Pakistan. Over the last few decades, Pakistan army has made it clear that it has no interest in economic cooperation with India until Kashmir question sorted out to satisfaction. On the trade front, Pakistan has never given the MFN status to India. So essentially, it's a part of our WTO commitments that between countries, there must be no discrimination that you are a more favored country and this is the less favored country. Okay, that is one type of discriminatory trade. So WTO has said, आप सारे trading partners को make them as most favored nation, MFN status. Okay, but Pakistan has not given that to India, although India had given Pakistan the MFN status. Okay, इसमें फिर there is no quota system that I'll import more from you, or I'll export more to you. वो नहीं करेंगे. It's one of the obligations which we have not done, Pakistan not done. So Pakistan has never given MFN status to India. Delhi gave the status to Pakistan but withdrew in 2019 after the terror attack in Pulwama. When India ended the special constitutional state of Jammu Kashmir, Pakistan suspended all trade ties. For a moment, February 21, the two security establishment negotiated ceasefire agreement. Pakistan signaled an interest in resuming trade ties, but there's too much opposition and then Prime Minister Imran Khan shelved the motives. Basically, we are saying that trade is a very important part of any bilateral association. Okay, and this also goes true for India and Pakistan. And we are hoping, Nawaz Sharif fundamentally is a businessman. Okay, Nawaz Sharif is a sugar baron. You have got agricultural land. He is a feudal lord. Okay, compared to other military dictators, this man has economic interests also in mind. So we are very hopeful, Nawaz Sharif or Shahbaz Sharif, whatever, they probably will be more favorable to open up trade with India. But people like, say Pervez Musharraf back then, or Imran Khan, they are not traders or economists or economic interest in mind there. Okay, looking at that one. More recently, government of Pakistan, led by Shehbaz Sharif, highlighted a demand from Pakistan business community to reopen trade with ties in India. Okay. While businessmen across border are making sensible commercial case, okay, Pakistan established not sure, okay, fine, okay. The next government in Delhi will of course have a chance to take a fresh look at bilateral ties and pick up threads of engagement from 21, an incremental process for, so all of this about ki trade ties hona chahiye, nothing much here. Okay, now come to this passage here. It says, okay, that Delhi could also look at an interesting proposal from SAD. देखो बहुत बार क्या होता है ना इंटरव्यूज में और आंसर्स में भी they ask you opinion questions कि आप बताओ what can we do for India Pakistan. एक general conversation होता है, okay sir, we can talk and we can negotiate and we can be patient and so and so. But these are examples of what specifically we can do. What we can do is, it says, taking from the proposal of SAD, we can make the entire Punjab border into a special economic zone. And see, if Raja Mohan says so, it is not a fantastic ambition. It is a very, very doable, probably a pursuable ambition. Entire Punjab border can be made into an SEZ. The SAD wants to work with the Delhi to bring small and medium enterprises into the zone. It will be interesting to imagine what such a zone could do for India-Pakistan relation when there's a freer trade and economic cooperation across Punjab border. Dekho, why I'm very hopeful here is, if you look at the history of Europe, it was as acrimonious, it was as hostile and bitter as we have between India and its neighboring countries. Europe mein, legendary fights hain, France, Germany, okay, Belgium, Netherlands, UK and Ireland. Yet they have maintained now this body called as EU. And EU integration has not happened openly. And you ask me, one of the biggest blunders in recent time has been Britain walking out of the EU. जिसको Brexit बोल रहे हैं. It is a colossal blunder. Okay, Boris Johnson did it, which is unfortunate because it's not working in favor of Britain at all. So if Britain, with all that animosity that they had, like almost like brothers at war will kill each other, yet they have got together. So he is proposing that the borders of India, खासकर पाकिस्तान के साथ में, it can be converted into a commercial activity zone. Okay, it says they can have freer trade, economic cooperation between across Punjab. Imagine Pakistan setting up similar features on its side and the possibility of integrated development. ये हमारा objective है, the possibility of integrated development. As we now, are we now getting ahead of ourselves? Perhaps. But unexpected positive developments do occur in Indian Pakistan. Few had expected, actually it's a surprising thing. 1819 mein, it was impossible to see Indian Pakistan can have a Kartarpur corridor, almost like a free open passage for exchange. Ye alag baat hai, misuse ho gaya, ultimately we have to stop it down in some ways. Otherwise, a huge development. It says that, okay, the long-standing idea, Kartarpur Sahib corridor between two Punjab, in reality during 1819. The idea of trans-border economic zone is not entirely outlandish. It was discussed often in the context of developing economic cooperation across Pakistan-Afghanistan border. It did not go far amongst turbulence and so on. Okay, but ये जो across border zones है ना, they are successful in Southeast Asia. Okay, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. Okay, they have worked out these kind of borders. Okay, elsewhere in Asia and China has encouraged its frontier provinces to embark on cross-border collaboration with the neighboring countries. The idea put forward by SAD in essence reflects the interest of the people who have paid a high price for the partition of Punjab. It is not simply a foreign policy thing. Perhaps there is an element of local aspirations also. And we have seen those heartwarming, touching stories and photographs where brothers, families, after decades have come together across the borders. So somewhere it's saying that we can exploit this emotion also. Punjab across the border have the same cultural elements. They have the same historical roots. They have lot of similar language, practices, okay, nostalgia related hai. So why can't we use this to our advantage? It says it reflects the interest of the people who have paid a high price. SAD's proposal on engaging Pakistan bring forth the idea of para-diplomacy or a sub-state diplomacy in promoting national interest. So what India, Pakistan are not able to do at the foreign ministry level, perhaps we can do this at the level of the state. Punjab of Pakistan with Lahore, Punjab of India with Amritsar, Chandigarh, probably they can work out something for our relationship. So when you involve sub-states, when we involve smaller bodies, we call that as para-diplomacy. This involves formal interactions between entities below the federal level. Indian government is the federal government. The states are the provincial governments. Okay, so below the federal government, the provincial and the local governments, they can have shared national goals. I think I like this paragraph. आपके notes में ये paragraph आ सकता है. Okay, the idea of para-diplomacy, sub-state diplomacy, promoting interest, the interests of the people, and so on. This is a nice paragraph to note. The conduct of para-diplomacy is not in opposition to national governments, which have a monopoly over engagement with other sovereigns. Federal governments are quite nervous about sharing, let alone ceding authority to engage across borders, especially when there is a danger of cross-border criminal networks. Okay, para-diplomacy conducted in tandem, national government can often produce openings that can't be generated between congealed positions of national governments. So para-diplomacy type ka backdoor entry hai. What we cannot do formally, openly, face-to-face, we can use para-diplomacy to open a door for us. That's what it can do for India and Pakistan. India, Pakistan, in their on again, off again peace process over the last quarter of a century, have occasionally encouraged sub-state diplomacy in Punjab. There are occasions when chief ministers of East and West Punjab have met to explore cooperation and so on. Not all Indian border states have been keen on cross-border cooperation with Punjab. It's quite different in case of West Bengal under Mamata Banerjee. Tamil parties in Chennai have also exercised their veto over Delhi's ties with Colombo. A weak UPA government had walked had often had to walk back from productive initiatives in neighbors because of resistance from its coalition partners in the states. A strong India government under Prime Minister Modi began the talk of cooperative federalism, but is locked with the country non-BJP states, governments in different provinces. Okay, now the next government, irrespective of its political color, or koi bhi aaye government mein, must return to considering para-diplomacy as a valuable tool in India's statecraft. Okay, to succeed, India's neighborhood policy. I hope you know we have a policy called as neighborhood first policy. Under that, para-diplomacy is a very powerful tool. Must work with the interest of people in border provinces. This in turn demands the construction of consensus between states and regional parties in our border, developing political relationship with its neighbors. Okay? See what happens, one point out to all of you here. When we read articles, our primary motive is to mine facts. Okay. We must also look for sentences, paragraphs and ideas from the articles. Not simply facts utha ke likh lo aap log. So in this, if I can take back 4 learnings. 4 learnings are, number 1, para-diplomacy is an important way forward. 1. Number 2, para-diplomacy can be the basis of local cultures driving the relationship between the 2 countries. Para-diplomacy can also include commercial and trade engagements. And para-diplomacy is the way forward. Khaskar in countries where, or powers where, the regular associations have not been as successful. Okay? So, take out a fresh page, all of you, and you may write down some words. I'll indicate and then you can take off. A rule that we have is that you should not be reading an article and leaving it like that. You must make some jottings, make some notes out of the articles also. Okay? The first point we write down is, okay, what is the author trying to convey? What is the author trying to convey? Kehna kya cha rahe hain author? Okay. The author is trying to convey that the way forward in foreign relations, includes para-diplomacy. Includes para-diplomacy. Okay. Para-diplomacy can open up opportunities. Para-diplomacy can open up opportunities which otherwise central governments are unwilling to explore. Which otherwise central governments are unwilling to explore. The third point, para-diplomacy can be part of India's neighborhood first policy. Can be part of India's neighborhood first policy. That's what he can tell us. Okay. Next, how does he tell that? ये जो कहना चाह रहे हैं, how does he establish that? Okay. He gives example of Punjab and the opening up of Kartarpur Sahib corridor. ये evidence देके बता रहे हैं 2018-19 में, okay, the opening up of Kartarpur Sahib corridor. It was largely because of, okay, the Sikh population of Punjab wanted access to Kartarpur Gurudwara, okay, which is the resting place of, okay, and also the birthplace of, okay, Guru Nanak Ji. Okay? That's why they were negotiating, and it was because of their interest that we made it happen. So success hai iska. Okay. Next write down, there are examples of para-diplomacy. The examples of para-diplomacy success. Okay. Author किसके बारे में लिख रहे हैं? Success in Southeast Asia. the success in Chinese initiatives. Okay, it has been successful. Within bracket mention, okay, although not mentioned by the author, other success of para-diplomacy are, although not mentioned by the author, other examples of para-diplomacy success are, one is, okay, the diaspora engagement. India engaging with is diaspora engagement, comma, involving MNCs and business leaders, involving MNCs and business leaders, cultural and investment fairs, okay, and sports and arts-based diplomacy. Sports and arts-based diplomacy. ठीक है? And these are successful. And again, okay, next point लिखो आप. The author suggests that the Indian border regions, okay, can be converted into international SEZs. Can be converted into international SEZs for commercial and for trade. Some kind of integrated economic development for commercial interests, objectives, and for trade objectives. Some kind of international, okay, integrated development. Next, although he also cautions, the author also cautions, kya caution? It has not been successful in case of Bengal or Tamil Nadu. Mamata Banerjee has not allowed for the Teesta Water Treaty. वैसे Tamil Nadu has been very belligerent in case of Tamil rights. और कचतीवू का इशू भी कहीं ना कहीं तमिलनाडु से शुरू होता है. So you be careful here. Work out what's possible and what's not possible. So what does the author want to say? What is he saying and how does it say it? And have few lines on what do you think? Okay. So आपका opinion. So if you ask me what's my opinion, I say nice idea, but okay, very unlikely in case of Punjab, more likely for Nepal maybe. And for Nepal, I think it's a very nice because Nepal already has a porous border with India. And आगे चल के, it's possible Bangladesh के साथ भी कर सकते हैं हम लोग because we are having a kind of international road highway being developed in India, Chittagong, Dhaka, and so on. So my opinion is with Pakistan, it looks less likely. Okay, but it is a potential project for, okay, with West Bengal, Bangladesh. It can be a potential project for UP and Nepal. Okay. And also para-diplomacy, जैसे tourism based अगर बनाते हैं, India, Maldives, India, Sri Lanka, and so on. Okay, that's a good thing to explore. अगर चाइना के साथ कर सकते हैं तो पाकिस्तान के साथ भी कर सकते हैं. Okay, but yes, why rule out? In fact, across Sikkim, we have this Chumbi Valley, which historically has been one of the trade. Okay, but mention kar lo, but my personal opinion is that's less likely. Okay, I mean, jitna careful raho with Pakistan, usse double careful raho with China, because जो पाकिस्तान में हो रहा है वो actually पाकिस्तान थोड़ी कर रहा है, उसकी अभी उतनी औकात नहीं है. Okay, it is China working through Pakistan. ठीक है, इसने पाल रखा है पाकिस्तान को तो ठीक है. Okay, his master's voice is more important, no problem. Check all of you. So this is how you work out, okay, your articles. What does the author want to tell us? Okay, and spend some time back in your room, pick up nice vocabulary from this. Check it. Okay, I am running short of time. I will allow Banke sir to come in now. He takes up articles of economy and social issues. Okay, so he should do 2, but he can do maybe only 1. So be patient with that. Okay, and we'll take up next article. Next Friday we will have economy, economy, and again reading session on Saturday. Okay? Fine. I'll allow Bakin sir to come in now. Please come. For your week's current affairs, itna kafi hai. Okay. The 1.5 sessions for compilation and these 2, 3, 5 articles. इससे ज्यादा आप वैसे भी करते नहीं, और जो छूटेगा will take up afterwards the part of your prelims. Again, it is compilation. बाद में करेंगे. ठीक है? Come here. Some of you have not seen him. That's Pankaj sir. He will take up economy topics and even topics related to social issues also. ठीक है? तो आज ज़्यादा टाइम है नहीं. देखो आप एक आर्टिकल जो देखो.
Sure. Okay. Okay, today we have 2 economy articles, okay, and very, very important articles. Coal remaining king of India's, okay, because the question have already been asked on coal related or renewable related things, okay. Energy जो है वो सीधे आपका GS पेपर 3 में अलग से टॉपिक लिखा हुआ है, okay, एनर्जी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में एनर्जी एक टॉपिक लिखा हुआ है, और अगर आप प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस देखेंगे तो अभी तक रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी रिलेटेड 2 क्वेश्चन पूछे जा चुके हैं, ठीक है। एक तो ये पूछा था शायद 2021 में कि डू यू थिंक इंडिया विल बी एबल टू अटेन दैट 50% रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी बाय 2030, ओके, जस्टिफाई योर आंसर, इफ यू थिंक यस व्हाई, इफ यू थिंक नो व्हाई, ओके, तो वो एक पूछा गया था। एंड देन उससे पहले 2016 में मेंस में, अभी हम मेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, 2016 में एक क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था कि टारगेट क्या है और स्टेटस क्या है रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का, व्हाट इज द स्टेटस करंट में, व्हाट परसेंटेज इट फॉर्म्स ऑफ द इंडियाज एनर्जी मिक्स, एंड देन व्हाट इज द टारगेट, व्हाट वी आर एमिंग फॉर। तो लाइक मे बी हम इंटरनेशनल फोरम में हम क्या, UNFCCC में या COP में हम क्या कमिटमेंट्स किए हैं, ये क्वेश्चन 2016 का था, ओके। अभी जो क्वेश्चन पूछा जाना है, मतलब बचा हुआ है, आगे क्या पूछा जाना है मुझे नहीं पता, बट जो एक लॉजिकल ये है कि कोल का रोल जो है वो क्या घटने वाला है क्या आने वाले 10 साल में, 15 साल में, 20 साल में, इन कमिंग 15 or 20 years, do you think importance of coal is going to decrease? Because government is focusing lots on renewable energy, right? And internationally, everybody is focusing a lot on that. But will it translate into reduced role of coal or not? उस पर ये आर्टिकल सीधे बोल रहा है कि coal remains king. तो yes या no लॉजिक तो बाद में दे रहा है, बट द टाइटल जो है वो सीधे आपको बिना कोई कहानी बताए सीधे बोल रहा है कि कोल इज गोइंग टू रिमेन द किंग। ये इनका अपना व्यू है, व्यू पॉइंट्स है, आपका व्यू पॉइंट अलग हो सकता है, ठीक है, बट पहले इनके व्यू पॉइंट को देखते हैं, ठीक है। अगेन एज ऑलवेज जो लोग पहले से आ रहे हैं उनको पता है, जो पहली बार आ रहे हैं उनके लिए कि आर्टिकल के अंदर कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, ठीक है। तो बिफोर वी स्टार्ट रीडिंग द आर्टिकल विल जस्ट डिस्कस दोज कॉन्सेप्ट्स, बिट ऑफ बैकग्राउंड, ओके, जिससे कि आपका दिमाग चलने लगे। उसके बाद आर्टिकल तो कुछ ऐसा है नहीं, ठीक है, मतलब वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट फिर आर्टिकल तो ऐसे ही सबको समझ में आता है, ठीक है। चलिए, बेसिक सबसे पहला बात तो ये है कि व्हाई एवरीबडी इज आफ्टर कोल, कोल ने ऐसी क्या गलती की भाई, ठीक है। तो why goals to reduce coal use, ठीक है। तो इसका 2 तरफ का जाएगा, एक तो क्लाइमेट चेंज, ठीक है, तो और दूसरा है पॉल्यूशन। तो क्लाइमेट चेंज में अगेन anybody can write coal is because of climate change we want to reduce dependence on coal, but then you have to justify it using some data. ठीक है, एक और दो कुछ भी IPCC का डेटा उठा लो, उनके रिपोर्ट का डेटा उठा लो, you have to justify it. अदरवाइज तो रोड पे आप किसी को बोलो कोल क्यों कम करना चाहते हैं, क्लाइमेट चेंज के कारण, नथिंग दैट बिग अ थिंग दैट. तो क्लाइमेट चेंज के कारण तो एंड यू कैन कीप ऑन राइटिंग दिस. ठीक है, नहीं तो फिर मुझे बाद में बोल बोल कर लिखवाना पड़ेगा. तो यू कैन कीप ऑन राइटिंग दिस एज वेल. ठीक है, जहाँ पर कोई फंडा रहेगा, जहाँ पर कोई कॉन्सेप्ट रहेगा, वहाँ पर हम रुक जाएंगे, वी विल गो डाउन स्लो. ओके, सो द आइडिया इज दैट द फंडा शुड बी क्लियर. बाकी ठीक है. तो ह्यूमन इंड्यूस्ड climate change. Okay, and human induced climate change you have to say with the data that already 1 degree C temperature increase since pre-industrial level. ठीक है, जो प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल था यहाँ पर ओके, ये 2017 में ऑलरेडी 1 डिग्री सी से टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज ऑलरेडी हो चुका है सिंस प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल. व्हाट इज प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल? लॉट्स ऑफ डिबेट. ठीक है, वी विल नॉट गो इनटू दैट. आइडियली तो लाइक मिड ऑफ 18th सेंचुरी से इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन शुरू हो गया था, बट वी डोंट हैव डेटा, वी डोंट हैव टेम्परेचर डेटा फॉर दैट. सो फॉर प्रैक्टिकल रीजन्स IPCC सेज दैट इसको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बस ऐसे ही ट्रिविया है. 1850 to 1900 whatever was the average temperature in that time, we use it for as pre-industrial level. So from that level till 2017 already 1 degree temperature rise have already happened. Okay, so that shows the imperative. Okay, and the second thing is कि IPCC is repeatedly telling in its reports that if we will not be able to control it within 1.5 degree, okay, some experts are saying 2 degree C, IPCC is saying that let's be conservative, 1.5 degree C. If this increase of temperature from pre-industrial level will go beyond 1.5 degree C, then consequences will be irreversible. फिर आप पैसा खर्चा करके अपने हैबिट्स को चेंज करके you cannot change climate change. Okay, it will be out of our hand. Okay, so the second data point is, एक तो ये हो गया कि अभी तक इतना हो चुका है, एंड सेकंड जो है आप डरा रहे हैं कि आगे का क्या है. तो सेकंड डेटा पॉइंट इज कि if delta T, that is, or you can say temperature rise from pre-industrial level crosses 1.5 degree C, consequences will be catastrophic and irreversible. ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बस आपका पिज्जा हाथ से गिर गया, अच्छा ठीक है कोई बात नहीं दुकान से खरीद लेते हैं, ये वाली बात नहीं है. आपके हाथ से गया मतलब ह्यूमैनिटी विल बी देन इन ग्रेव डेंजर. ठीक है, तो ये 2 पॉइंट हो गया आपको ये दिखाने का कि क्लाइमेट चेंज इज रियल. ठीक है, नाउ दिस डेटा यू कैन यूज इन n number of places, not necessarily in GS paper 3, not necessarily in energy. Okay, this data you can use agriculture में productivity घट रहा है, diseases का tropical diseases, wherever you want to use this data will be handy. ठीक है, that's so one thing. And second is pollution. Okay, the coal related pollutions. So again the pollutants which is released in coal power plant have already been asked. Okay, in prelims examination it has already been asked. Mercury it was been tested once. ठीक है, तो other pollutants can also be asked, it's waiting to be asked. ठीक है, कुछ तो पहले भी पूछा जा चुका है, जैसे SO2 हो गया, इसके कारण it's related to acid rain. ठीक है, nitrous oxide NOx, it's also related to acid rain and smog. Okay, then particulate matters, then write particulate matters, PM. Okay, PM normally PM 2.5 और PM 10 दो टाइप का PM जो है वो ज्यादा न्यूज में रहता है. PM 10 व्हाट डज इट मीन? 10 क्या बोल रहा है इसमें? हाँ, particulate matter we have, so we have particulate matter PM 10 and then we have PM 2.5. Okay, so 10 just means it's a 10 micrometer diameter. ठीक है, 10 micrometer diameter. Okay, तो ये थोड़ा सा बड़ा साइज का है. ठीक है, और ये थोड़ा सा छोटा साइज का है. PM 2.5 बहुत ज़्यादा छोटा है. मतलब फॉर हेल्पिंग यू इमेजिन जो हमारे बाल का जो विड्थ होता है दैट इज 100 माइक्रोमीटर. ठीक है, तो 100 माइक्रोमीटर का विड्थ है, तो उस पर ये 10 माइक्रोमीटर है. ये कैन यू गेस व्हिच वन इज मोर हार्मफुल? PM 2.5. यहां से जो है क्वेश्चन भी पहले पूछा जा चुका है प्रीलिम्स में. ओके, तो PM 2.5 is more harmful because of its a smaller diameter. It can enter in your body. Okay, it can enter in your lungs. It can enter in your blood stream. Okay, तो ये blood stream वाला point जो है वो पहले पूछा जा चुका है. ठीक है, can enter in lungs and blood stream and it is more dangerous. So ये फंडा क्लियर हो गया PM 2.5 का. एंड देन PM 2.5 था. एक और पॉल्यूटेंट है हैवी मेटल्स जो कोल से निकलता है. हैवी मेटल्स का नाम बताएंगे, एक दो हैवी मेटल्स. जस्ट ऐसे यू कैन ट्राई टू गेस, तुक्का मार सकते, नहीं पता तो. हैवी मेटल्स, यस हिमांशु यू आर राइट. साइज के बारे में बात कर रहा था. अरे तुक्का मारी, क्या गलत होगा क्या? ऐसा अभी एग्जाम थोड़ी देर. हाँ ठीक है. हैवी मेटल सबसे बड़ा तो मरकरी. ठीक है, मरकरी हो गया, कैडमियम हो गया, निकल हो गया, ये सारे. ठीक है, तो ये सब भी कोल का पॉल्यूटेंट्स है. ये आपको बहुत अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए फ्रॉम प्रीलिम्स पर्सपेक्टिव. ठीक है, सो दैट्स अबाउट कि व्हाई एवरीबॉडी इज आफ्टर कोल. ठीक है, second funda, which is actually a concept which you should know before reading the article, is there is something called installed power capacity. Okay? Installed power capacity, and then there is something called actual power generation. I think name itself says the difference. You can guess the difference, right? Installed means that is a maximum possible power generation. Okay, so let's say there's a power plant. It's a say 600 megawatt power plant. That means that is the maximum limit of the power plant. Up to that it can produce. Okay, but maybe the power plant was shut down for say half of a year, maybe because coal supply was not there, or if it was running on gas supply was not there, whatever be the reason. So then it actually produced only 300 megawatt. What does that mean? Means its actual is less than installed. Okay, so installed is the maximum capacity, maximum power, and it's a real. And the term which links these two things is called plant load factor. Now this is a bit technical term, so I will not go into deep of it because maybe some electrical engineer within you may ask me more depth in that and I won't be able to answer. ठीक है, तो ये मेरा डोमेन नहीं है. But the basic thing to understand is plant load factor. It says the effectiveness of the power plant to utilize its capacity. ठीक है, कि इसका इफेक्टिवनेस कितना है. Okay, that is plant load factor. Okay, so plant load, and this is very important because prelims में they ask terms. Okay, and they won't ask you too technical thing. They will just ask you whether you understand कि if plant load factor is increasing, is it good or bad? Okay, whether you understand that, that's it. They are not expecting you to be an electrical engineer. Okay, so plant load factor, it is a measure of power plant's ability to utilize capacity. Okay. And so higher the plant load factor, more is the actual power generation, right? So if it's installed is, let's say, 100 megawatt, okay, installed is 100 megawatt, तो अगर प्लांट लोड फैक्टर 50% है और अगर प्लांट लोड फैक्टर 70% है, which one is better? 70% is better. That means actual power generation is more. That's it. ठीक है, इतना फंडा आपको प्लांट लोड फैक्टर के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. Third thing which you should know is India's current energy mix. Because article directly starts talking about इतना है, इतना है, इतना है. Unless you have a background in that, वो आपके पूरे ऊपर से जाएगा कि भाई क्या बात कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो again, we don't have to remember it in terms of megawatt, gigawatt, but in terms of percentage. ठीक है, तो when we say 100%, from 100%, any idea how much is fossil fuel contribution in installed power capacity? Currently, we are talking about, it's very important, we are talking about installed power capacity, and this data is from February 2024. ठीक है, तो पावर मिनिस्ट्री के वेबसाइट पर यही लेटेस्ट डेटा है. इंस्टॉल्ड पावर कैपेसिटी अगर 100% है तो उसमें से व्हाट परसेंटेज इज फॉसिल फ्यूल? ओके, हिमांशु इज सेइंग 70%. Anybody would like to guess? 60. Okay, closer. Okay, so it's a 56% is fossil fuel. Let me write it this way. Okay, so fossil fuel is 56%. Okay, and non-fossil fuel, and be very careful because non-fossil fuel component means renewable component have already been asked. Okay, non-fossil fuel and renewable are not exactly same thing. We'll see just now. Okay, non-fossil fuel, of course, it's just basic maths. Okay, 44%. ठीक है, तो now within fossil fuel 56%, within fossil fuel the largest is within, मतलब coal plus lignite. Lignite is also type of coal only, but poor quality. Okay, so coal plus lignite is about 50%. ठीक है, 50.5 के around. ठीक है, this is coal plus lignite, and we are talking about installed power. We are not talking about actual, right? Installed is, तो 50% जो है इसका ये है, and then gas is about 6%, right? 5.8% लिखता है, आप 6% याद रखेंगे, आपका काम हो जाएगा. ठीक है, this is gas. Okay, when we talk about fossil fuel, 44%. Within that we have fossil fuel वाले में, नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल में रिन्यूएबल है, और दूसरा कौन सा होगा, एक कौन सा और है? नहीं, नॉन रिन्यूएबल में तो फिर कोल भी आ जाएगा. Money, yes, you were right. Yes, न्यूक्लियर, राइट? तो न्यूक्लियर को यहां पर रखते हैं. ठीक है, मतलब फॉर प्रैक्टिकल पर्पस भी एज्यूम किए तो चलता रहेगा. ठीक है, तो रिन्यूएबल को नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल में रखते हैं. तो नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल एंड रिन्यूएबल आर नॉट एग्जैक्टली सेम, इट्स रिन्यूएबल इज पार्ट ऑफ इट, राइट? क्लियर? तो न्यूक्लियर का अबाउट 1.7% है, तो दिस बिकम्स 42.3. तो अबाउट दैट जो है वो रिन्यूएबल है. ठीक है, तो एनर्जी इंडिया में जो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी है दैट इज अबाउट 42%. ठीक है, विल जस्ट रिमेंबर 41, 42 ठीक है, ठीक है, एग्जैक्टली 0.3 उतना याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, इट कीप्स ऑन चेंजिंग एज वेल, ठीक है। तो मोर देन 40% इफ यू कैन राइट दैट्स इनफ, ओके। तो इंडिया के एनर्जी मिक्स में दिस इज दिस मोर देन 40%, एंड विदिन दिस, विदिन रिन्यूएबल सोलर हैज अबाउट 17%, ठीक है, 17% इज सोलर, एंड विंड एंड हाइड्रो इज ईच अबाउट 10%, ठीक है। हाइड्रो थोड़ा सा ज्यादा है, 10.8% है, ओके। तो तब पॉइंट में जाकर के वी होप कि यूपीएससी चेक नहीं करेगा, ठीक है। तो ऐसा ये है, ठीक है, ये आपको बेसिक याद रखना है। तो 2016 में जो है एग्जैक्टली यही चीज पूछा था कि रिन्यूएबल के अंदर का बताओ, ठीक है, रिन्यूएबल का परसेंटेज कितना है और इसके अंदर का बताओ, ठीक है। तो यू हैव टू वेरी क्लियर, ठीक है। तो ये था इंस्टॉल्ड का। तो इंस्टॉल्ड पर यहां से देख के क्या लगता है कि टक्कर बराबर का है, कि फॉसिल फ्यूल और नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल में टक्कर बराबर का है। एंड मोर सो इफ यू विल सी हिस्टोरिकल डेटा, यू विल रियलाइज कि इसका परसेंटेज घटता जा रहा है विद टाइम और नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल का परसेंटेज इंक्रीज होता जा रहा है, ठीक है। तो गवर्नमेंट का जितना ज़्यादा इनिशिएटिव, जितना फोकस इस पर है, ठीक है, हमारा नेट जीरो का टारगेट भी आ गया है, ठीक है, 2070 तक हमारा नेट जीरो का टारगेट है कि हमको कार्बन न्यूट्रल हो जाना है एनर्जी के टर्म में, ठीक है। तो दैट, तो यहाँ पर ऐसा देख के लगता है, ठीक है, बट द मोमेंट वी मूव टू एक्चुअल मजा खराब हो जाता है, ठीक है। तो जब हम एक्चुअल में देखें, ये डेटा सबको याद रखना है, ठीक है। ये डेटा अगेन यू कैन यूज इट मेनी टाइम्स, ठीक है। अगेन आप हर तरह के क्वेश्चन में, चाहे आपको गवर्नमेंट के स्टैंड को जस्टिफाई करना हो, किसी चैलेंज को दिखाना हो, यू कैन यूज दिस डेटा, आप ऐसे में यूज कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। तो बेसिक आपके पास ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको डाटा का महाभारत खड़ा नहीं करना है, ठीक है। कम नंबर ऑफ डेटा, यू शुड नो बेसिक डेटा, एंड देन यू शुड थिंक ओवर दैट डेटा, एंड यू कैन यूज दैट डेटा ऑल ओवर द प्लेस, ठीक है। एग्जामिनर को थोड़ा ही पता है कि आपको 10 ही डेटा पता है और आप उसी को यूज किए जा रहे हो, ठीक है। इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर स्मार्टनेस, ठीक है, कि आप कैसे यूज कर रहे हो, ठीक है। इट्स क्लियर यहाँ पर। दैट वाज इंस्टॉल्ड। व्हेन वी से एक्चुअल, actual power generation, in actual power generation we have latest data from 2021-22, ठीक है, and experts are saying that not much would have changed, ठीक है। तो ये नहीं बोलेंगे कि 23-24 का तो नहीं है, ठीक है, यही डेटा है हमारे पास। इसमें बोल रहा है एक्चुअल में कि जो हमारा फॉसिल फ्यूल है, दिस इज अबाउट 74%, एंड जो हमारा नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल है, दिस इज ओनली अबाउट, ठीक है, 26% लिख देते हैं, 25%। नाउ यू कैन सी अ प्रॉब्लम। इफ यू विल लुक एट ओनली इंस्टॉल्ड पावर कैपेसिटी, it looks like कि fossil fuel is decreasing, non-fossil fuel is increasing, okay, we are going towards the golden time, okay, but the moment आप इसको देखते हो तो फिर लोग डिप्रेशन में चले जाते हैं कि ये जो है 74% है, and the experts are saying that for coming 10-15 years they do not think it is going to change much, okay. Why they do not think that, what are the challenges they foresee, ये आर्टिकल उसी के बारे में है, ठीक है। तो बेसिक आपका फंडा क्लियर हो गया। अब ये आर्टिकल 10 से 15 मिनट में खत्म हो जाएगा। ओके, ओके, वन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, नहीं तो हमको फिर से उठना पड़ेगा लिखने के लिए। वन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग विच यू शुड रिमेंबर इज इंडियाज करंट पावर कंजम्पशन का स्टेटस क्या है, ठीक है। व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट 10 years, 15 years और बिकमिंग डेवलप्ड नेशन बाय 2047, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट, वी हैव टू थिंक ऑन दैट लाइन कि आगे क्या होने वाला है, ओके। तो प्रेजेंटली पर कैपिटा इनकम जो है, पर कैपिटा पावर कंजम्पशन, सॉरी, of India, exact data तो it's about 1250 around है, ठीक है, 1250, but उसको छोड़ देते हैं. In terms of global standard, it's 1/3 of global average. Wherever possible, remember data in terms of fractions, percentage, छोटा होता है, आसानी से याद रहता है, ठीक है, and it gives you relative. So per capita power consumption of India is only 1/3 of global average. If we see China, 1/5 of China, okay, 1/10 of USA. Power, and it is a general fact that power consumption per capita normally increases as a country develops more. Okay? So maybe if there will be some very incredible technology which will make everything super efficient, we don't know about that. But as of now, as people's per capita income increases, you will earlier people used to buy only cooler, some people not even cooler. Now everybody is buying AC. Okay. So the power consumption per capita increases as your money increases. Okay, that's one. And as if India will continue growing, then then the factories will need more power. Okay, the people will need more power. So our power consumption per capita is going to increase in future. This is very important point because we do not have to think only about present times. आने वाले टाइम में जब तक आप लोग अगर एग्जाम निकाल के जब तक आप लोग डीएम बनेंगे या एसपी बनेंगे या आईआरएस बनेंगे, तब तक सिनेरियो चेंज हो चुका रहेगा. ठीक है, तो तब तक पावर कंजम्पशन पर कैपिटा बढ़ गया रहेगा. ठीक है, तो आप जो प्रॉब्लम फेस करेंगे उसके बारे में अभी कंट्री को सोचना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, तो इट्स गोइंग टू इंक्रीज ऑनली. ठीक है, चलिए I can open those who are watching online, you can open the article, coal remains king of India's energy supply. Okay, coal remains king of India's energy supply. Okay, सचिंद्र नाथ का है, द हिंदू बिजनेस लाइन में. ठीक है, 19 मई 2024. ओके, डेट वेट याद रखने का, चलो ठीक है, डेट बस ऐसे ही फॉर कंटेक्स्ट बता रहे हैं. तो आर्टिकल में स्टार्ट ये कर रहे हैं कि इंडिया रीच्ड ए माइलस्टोन विद एनुअल कोल कंजम्पशन ऑफ 1 बिलियन टन. ठीक है, एनुअल कोल कंजम्पशन का एक माइलस्टोन हो गया. याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट आपको पता होना चाहिए कि एक माइलस्टोन है. Coal and lignite-based power generation plant with installed capacity of 218 gigawatt account for more than 50% of total power generation capacity in the country. Okay, so this is more than 50% total power generation capacity. This is not generated. Okay, this is your generation capacity is 50%. Non-fossil fuel, including all these things, add up to 190 gigawatt. ठीक है, तो 190 गीगावाट याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. अबाउट 44%. ठीक है, तो अबाउट 56% इधर है, 44 ये है. ठीक है, ये डेटा आपको याद रखना है. ठीक है, ये गीगावाट वाला डेटा याद रखने का उतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, परसेंटेज याद रखिए. अब सेकेंड लाइन में वो तुरंत जो है बैलून को फोड़ते हैं. द आइडिया फॉर द डाटा फॉर एक्चुअल पावर जनरेशन, the data for actual power generation reflects the true picture, okay, of the contribution of various energy sources. तो जब आप एक्चुअल में देखते हो तो आपको ट्रू पिक्चर पता चलता है, जो कि हम अभी देखें. ठीक है, the output of power from fossil fuels remain low due to load factor of 20 to 25% of the installed capacity. Okay, so when we talk about non-fossil fuels whose installed power capacity is about 44% of the total, but its load factor is only about 20 to 25%. Okay, and because of that it contributes only around 25-26% to India's actual generated power. ठीक है, तो ये जो लोड फैक्टर वाला पॉइंट है, ये बहुत स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट है. Okay, so whenever you have a question on this ओके, तो यू हैव टू यूज दिस वर्ड, टेक्निकल टर्म लोड फैक्टर। आप ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो कि उतना एफिशिएंट नहीं है, इट्स नॉट दैट एफिशिएंट, so that becomes more generic. Okay, anybody can write that. So just to attract the examiner's attention, it's important to use keywords. And keyword does one more thing. If you have keywords, then you can use your space more optimally. Why so? Because the moment you write load factor, you don't have to explain the meaning of load factor. You don't have to explain कि ऐसा हो रहा है. Just say low load factor. Okay. If you will not write the word load factor, then you have to explain it. You will have to take 2 lines. ठीक है. आपको ये एज्यूम नहीं करना है कि सामने वाले को नहीं पता है, हम तुमको समझा रहे हैं, समझो भैया वो पीएचडी करके बैठा हुआ है, ठीक है, वो दुनिया देख रखा है, ठीक है, वो आपके वर्ड, आपके कॉपी में कीवर्ड ढूंढ रहा है, वो देखेगा, हो सकता है आगे पीछे भी ना पढ़े, समझ जाएगा आपने लोड फैक्टर लिखा है, मतलब आपको पता है, ठीक है. दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ कीवर्ड. आपका जिंदगी बहुत आसान हो जाता है और जो कॉपी चेक कर रहा है उसका जिंदगी भी आसान होता है, ठीक है. तो ठीक है, तो नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल्स वाले जो सोर्सेज हैं उनका लोड फैक्टर जो है वो काफ़ी कम है, ओनली 20 to 25% है. ओके, एंड देन उसके बाद जो यहाँ पर पॉइंट्स है उसमें बता रहा है कि व्हाई लोड फैक्टर इज दिस लेस. 20 to 25% वाले के जस्ट बाद का जो लाइन है, दैट लाइन इज टेलिंग कि व्हाई लोड फैक्टर इज दैट लेस. ओके, व्हाई लोड फैक्टर कैन बी दैट लेस. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल बोल रहा है कि अगर हम हाइड्रो पावर की बात करें तो रिजर्वायर्स में पानी नहीं होता है, तो वो जनरेट कहाँ से होगा, ठीक है. तो एक तो ये हो गया, जब पानी होगा, जब बारिश होगी, मानसून सीजन में हाइड्रो पावर जनरेट होगा, मानसून नहीं है तो फिर नहीं होगा, वो बैठा हुआ है, तो उसका इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी तो है साल भर प्रोड्यूस करने का, बट आप उसको साल भर पानी नहीं दे पा रहे हो, ठीक है. दैट्स वन. तो ये हाइड्रो का हो गया. आफ्टर दैट इट सेज सोलर एंड विंड, बाय इट्स वेरी नेचर इट्स फ्लक्चुएटिंग. लाइक सोलर पावर जो है वो दिन में मिलेगा, रात में नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है, गर्मी में मिलेगा, विंटर में नहीं मिलेगा. सेम विथ विंड. ओके, तो विंडी सीजन होगा तो मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा तो नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है. तो मेनी रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेज बाय नेचर उसका ऐसा है कि उसका लोड फैक्टर कम ही होगा, ठीक है. तो दैट्स वन थिंग. ऑफ कोर्स इफ यू वांट टू डील विद दैट देन यू हैव टू इंप्रूव योर बैटरी स्टोरेज टेक्नोलॉजी, ठीक है. तो ये सब अलग पॉइंट्स है, यहाँ पर वो डिस्कस नहीं हुआ है. बट अगर आपको इंटरमिटेंट पावर सप्लाई, फ्लक्चुएटिंग पावर सप्लाई सबसे डील करना, यू नीड टू हैव बैटरीज विच विल हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग स्टोरेज कैपेसिटीज, कि इन लेस स्पेस they can store more. That is the solution. But anyway, the author currently is not in mood to play from the side of non-renewable. Author का दिमाग वो completely बना लिए हैं कि हमको कोल को ही सपोर्ट करना है, तो वो नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल जो है उस तरफ, उसके सपोर्ट में कोई पॉइंट नहीं डाल रहे. दैट इज वन थिंग यू शुड रिमेंबर, कि व्हेन यू विल बी राइटिंग आंसर, you cannot write just that कि नहीं होगा, ठीक है. you will have to say कि ऐसा नहीं है, नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल्स का जो प्रॉब्लम्स है उसके सॉल्यूशंस हैं, बट देन अल्टीमेटली आप कंक्लूजन जो भी बोल दो, मे बी आप बोल दो कंक्लूजन कि नहीं हो पाएगा, मे बी बोल दो कंक्लूजन हो पाएगा, बट you should project yourself as a thinking person, unbiased person. You should not come across as activist supporting one point or another. That is very important. After reading your answer completely, the person should think that okay, बंदे को पता है हर तरफ का arguments पता है, भले ही फाइनल जो ले रहा है, फाइनल तो डिपेंड कर सकता है, ठीक है. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है. तो ये हो गया कि नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल का चैलेंज का बात कर दिया. देन अमॉन्ग्स द फॉसिल फ्यूल, अब बोल रहा है ठीक है भाई, अब फॉसिल फ्यूल पे आते हैं. लोड फैक्टर ऑफ गैस बेस्ड पावर प्लांट ऑल्सो रिमेन बिलो 20%, ठीक है. तो नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल का तो रहता है कम, 20 to 25%, बट व्हेन वी कम टू फॉसिल फ्यूल, इन दैट ऑल्सो गैस का लोड फैक्टर कम रहता है. व्हाई? बिकॉज गैस इज वेरी कॉस्टली. ओके, इंडिया इंपोर्ट्स ऑलमोस्ट 46% ऑफ इट्स नेचुरल गैस रिक्वायरमेंट्स. ओके, तो उसका प्राइस जो है हमारा रुपी का, जैसा जैसा रुपी अगर डिप्रिसिएट होगा उसका प्राइस और भी बढ़ जाता है, ठीक है. तो वी आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन अदर्स टू मच फॉर गैस. सेम इज द केस फॉर डीजल पावर्ड जनरेशन. डीजल पावर वाले पर भी हम इसलिए उसको एक्सपेंड नहीं कर रहे हैं ओनली 0.6% है, इसमें उतना छोटा है कि हम लिखे भी नहीं, ठीक है। तो डीजल पावर 0.6% इंडिया के टोटल में। वी कैन नॉट एक्सपेंड इट क्योंकि हमारे पास क्रूड ऑयल अपना नहीं है, हम मंगा रहे हैं, तो हमारा वो बिल बढ़ेगा, ठीक है। तो फॉर सेम रीजन द मोमेंट इट बिकम्स कॉस्टली, power plants they stop producing it, they stop using it unless there is an emergency. Power plants do not use gas power, okay. currently just अभी 2-3 दिन से न्यूज़पेपर में लगातार आ रहा है कि now gas power plants they are starting gas power plants because the peak load peak demand is increasing, okay. तो उसके कारण, okay, ठीक है। तो नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल का लोड फैक्टर कम है, गैस पावर प्लांट का लोड फैक्टर कम है, बचा क्या, कोल, ठीक है। कोल बचा, और कोल का गुड पॉइंट इज कि इसके नेक्स्ट लाइन में देखिए, दिस आर्टिकल इज वेरी कॉम्पैक्ट, ठीक है। इस आर्टिकल में कहीं कहानी नहीं बना रहा है, ठीक है। हार्डली 1 पेज 1.5 पेज भी नहीं, 1.25 पेज का आर्टिकल है, बट आपका बहुत ज्यादा इसमें इंफॉर्मेशन दिया हुआ है, पूरा कॉम्पैक्ट है। कंपेयर टू दिस, coal based power plant have an average load factor of almost 70%. Compare this 20% of non-fossil fuels gas to 70% of coal, okay. So यहाँ से वो बोल रहा है कि इसका 70% है, means even if हमारा लाइक गैस का हमारा आइडिया, ये गोल है, नेशनल गोल है कि हमको 15% गैस को ले जाना है बाय 2030, ठीक है। ऑथर का कहना है कि भैया आप 15% इंस्टॉल्ड में कर दोगे, बट विल दैट बी एक्चुअली यूज्ड, ठीक है। यू आर सेइंग कि बाय 2030 इंस्टॉल्ड पावर कैपेसिटी विल बिकम 50% रिन्यूएबल, yes maybe, but will you be able to use that? No. So then author says कि coal is the future because of its plant load factor, okay. So that's that, okay. And then, so therefore coal and lignite accounted for almost 73% of total power generation in financial year 23. Financial year 23 में it was about 73%, ठीक है, in generation, ठीक है। फंडा क्लियर, ओके। रोड मैप फॉर्मुलेटेड, ओके, व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन, सॉल्यूशन क्या है। तो अगेन कि वी कैन नॉट से कि स्टेटस क्यों चलता रहे, बिकॉज हमारा जो पावर नीड है वो स्टेगनेंट नहीं है। अगर हमारा पावर नीड अभी जो है वही रहता तो हम बोलते ठीक है चलने दो, बट हमारा पावर नीड इट्स गोइंग टू इंक्रीज ओनली, ठीक है। एज आवर पर कैपिटा इनकम इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज और एज आवर इकोनॉमी इज एक्सपेंडिंग, our power need will increase, okay. So government has formulated a roadmap for additional 80 gigawatt thermal power generation capacity by 2032. The government is also putting its faith on thermal power, okay. So it's not like government have not abandoned the thermal power goals, okay. Government is not blindly following the renewable energy story, okay. Yes, government have renewable energy target. By 2030, government is also trying to have 500 gigawatt of renewable energy. Yes, that is right, okay. But government is not putting all its egg in one basket, ठीक है। तो वो जा रहा है, बोल रहा है कि अभी 80 गीगावाट थर्मल पावर जनरेशन कैपेसिटी और बढ़ेगा, ठीक है। तो हमारे जितने भी फ्रेंड्स जो BHEL और NTPC में जो कॉलेज से जो लोग चले गए वो लोग अब खुश हैं। बीच में 4-5 साल उनका बहुत डिप्रेसिंग मूड चला, बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट वॉज almost single-handedly supporting renewable push. So they were not getting projects, okay, particularly BHEL guys, okay. And now since last 1.5 year, they are calling me for party. कि ठीक है अभी चल रहा है, ठीक है, नोएडा में बगल में ही है तो इट्स इजी, ओके, ठीक है। तो यहाँ फंडा हो गया। अगला लाइन देखिए, अगला पैराग्राफ। द डिमांड फॉर पावर इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू ग्रो बाय 6 to 7% पर एनम इन नियर फ्यूचर। ये पॉइंट लिख लीजिए, ठीक है। दिस इज अ पॉइंट व्हिच यू शुड रिमेंबर। इफ व्हेनेवर यू आर ट्राइंग टू से कि इंक्रीज होगा, यू विल से 6 to 7% से इंक्रीज होगा, देन यू आर अगेन सेटिंग अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, ठीक है। Though the country has done well in recent year by increasing capacity based on non-fossil fuels, the target of achieving 500 gigawatt of renewable energy means 50 gigawatt per annum जो है आपको चाहिए होगा एडिशनल इंक्रीज, ठीक है। तो अगर अब ऑथर क्या बोल रहे हैं कि अगर हमको 500 गीगावाट का टारगेट कंप्लीट करना है, That means we have to add 50 gigawatt of renewable energy every year. So now after this, author will make 2 points. Author will say that, one, it's very difficult. Why? Author will give you points. That will give you answer of why expanding renewable energy is very challenging. तो वो जो अगर कभी challenges पूछेगा renewable energy का, उसका जो आपको points होगा वो author देंगे इसके बाद. And then second में author says that, let's say by God's wish complete हो गया, even then you will not be able to meet your increasing power needs because it's load factor. ठीक है? Okay. ये वाला इसके नीचे वाला जो पैराग्राफ है, there are number of challenges in achieving these level of capacity additions. Okay. These level of capacity additions have number of challenges like availability of land. ठीक है? Land acquisition is a big problem. ठीक है? तो डिजिटल लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स नहीं है, किसका जमीन है किसी को पता नहीं है, मामला कोर्ट में चल रहा है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम लोकल डिस्प्यूट्स, अपार्ट फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट सेइंग दैट NGOs आर ट्राइंग टू स्टॉप व्हाटएवर, those things are secondary points. The primary points is nobody knows that whose land it is. If government want to acquire the land, to whom they will pay money. ठीक है? तो 10 साल उसी में लटक गया, मामला कोर्ट से आएगा तो फिर एक्वायर होगा. So that's one challenge. And the problem with particularly with solar energy is if you want to install a solar power plant, you need lots of land. Okay, so acquisition related problem hai, that's one, availability of land. Second is finances. These renewable energy installations, they are very costly in terms of initial cost. ठीक है? Afterward, since इसको आगे inputs का requirement नहीं होता है, तो फिर afterwards in the long run these are cost effective, but when you are installing these things it is very costly. पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? ठीक है? तो developed countries are promising money, but then they have been promising money since 1992. Okay, so since that time they have been promising money. Okay, there have not been much meaningful progress in that, so we cannot trust them. और हमारे पास पैसा है नहीं. ठीक है? हमारा fiscal deficit ऐसे ही 5.6-5.8% पे जा रहा है. ठीक है? तो how we are going to finance that? That is another challenge. Okay, pace of development of infrastructure. Okay, so development of infrastructure have another problem. Recently Supreme Court gave a judgment. Okay, Rajasthan का ये कौन सा है? Great Indian Bustard. Okay, so there was a case in Supreme Court because some Great Indian Bustards were killed because of overhead transmission lines. Okay, so Supreme Court said that in that habitat no overhead transmission lines will go. Okay, you will have to go underground cost बढ़ गया. Okay, and so because of these things जो infrastructure projects है, जो transmission lines है या जो grid connectivity है कि solar power जहाँ produce हो रहा है उसको अगर हम main electric grid से connect करेंगे तो you cannot do that. Okay, because there are lots of challenges. So because of these challenges it's very difficult according to author that we will be able to achieve 500 gigawatt. ठीक है? तो ये जो challenges थे, लास्ट में मैं जल्दी से 2-3 चैलेंज लिखवा भी दूंगा, बट यही challenges हैं. ये जो challenges हैं, this is very important. ये challenge ये author जो है वो एक लाइन में लिख दिए हैं, आपसे 10 नंबर का पूछा जाएगा. ठीक है? तो वो 15 नंबर का क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, 5 नंबर में स्टेटस बोलेंगे और फिर बाकी बोलेंगे चैलेंजेस क्या है. ठीक है? तो पॉइंट्स यही हैं, पॉइंट्स यही 3-4 पॉइंट्स हैं. इसको आपको फिर डेटा डालना है, एक लाइन लिखना है, आपका आंसर बन जाएगा. 100 वर्ड्स में आपका चला जाएगा. 150 वर्ड टोटल है, आपका काम बन जाएगा. ठीक है? तो इसलिए ये जो 2 लाइन है, इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन. ठीक है? चैलेंजेस एंड देन द सेम वही म्यूजिक फिर से चला रहे कि अचीव हो भी जाएगा तो लोड फैक्टर कम है. ठीक है? एंड देन नाउ ऑथर कम्स टू इट्स कंक्लूजन. ठीक है? कि द कोल विल कंटिन्यू टू रिमेन द डोमिनेंट फ्यूल एटलीस्ट फॉर नेक्स्ट 15 ईयर. ठीक है? नेक्स्ट 15 ईयर तक आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है, कोल विल रिमेन देयर. ओके, आफ्टर दैट व्हाट ऑथर डज, दैट गिव्स यू अ मास्टर क्लास इन राइटिंग कंक्लूजन. लाइक यू आर अराइविंग at a unpopular conclusion. Everybody want to listen that स्लोली कोल का इंपॉर्टेंस कम हो जाएगा, बट ऑथर हैव अराइव्ड एट ए कंक्लूजन कि नहीं कम होगा, ठीक है। बट देन ऑथर इज सेइंग दैट ठीक है कम नहीं होगा, बट देन व्हाट वी कैन डू टू रिड्यूस इट्स साइड इफेक्ट, ठीक है। तो कंक्लूजन आप जब भी लिखते हैं तो अगर आपका जो आप बोल रहे हैं वो अनपॉपुलर है तो ऐसा हो रहा है, यस करप्शन नहीं घटेगा, बट ये चीज हो जाएगा तो फिर कम हो जाएगा, ठीक है। तो दैट्स इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू, तो इसको जब आप देखते हैं तो आपको कंक्लूजन लिखना आ जाएगा, ठीक है। कोल विल रिमेन द किंग ऑफ इंडियन एनर्जी सप्लाई, लास्ट पारा इस लाइन का देख रहे हैं, बट इट इज ऑल्सो इसेंशियल दैट ऑल थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स ओल्ड एंड न्यू adopt the best available technology for pollution control. So if coal is producing that much pollution, SO2, NOx, mercury, ठीक है, particulate matters ये सब प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, तो यू कैन यूज लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, ओके, वहाँ पर आपको जो है पैसा बचाना नहीं है, यूज दैट एंड adopt technologies like say electrostatic participators, या adopt technologies like super thermal power plants, okay, so wet scrubbers, so use those technologies, okay, to reduce the footprint of the coal, at least in energy, sorry, at least in pollution. अभी बोला कि pollution वाला कंट्रोल करने के लिए आप लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करो. whenever you are writing it in exam, don't just write latest technology, okay, ये यहाँ पर इससे आगे नहीं बढ़े हैं, ठीक है. ब्रैकेट में write name of 1 or 2 technologies, okay. So for example, you can write name of technologies like electrostatic precipitator, name of pollution control technology, you can just कहीं पर बगल में लिख लीजिए, name of pollution control technologies in thermal power plants, electrostatic participator to reduce particulate matters, ठीक है, वो charged participator होता है, उसको अपने तरफ attract कर लेता है, that's one. Second, ultra supercritical coal power plants. Third, activated carbon injection. चारकोल को पल्वराइज्ड करके बहुत छोटा छोटा करके डाल देते हैं, इससे सरफेस एरिया बढ़ता है, ठीक है. एक्टिवेटेड कार्बन इंजेक्शन टू रिड्यूस हैवी मेटल कंसंट्रेशन, टू रिड्यूस हैवी मेटल इमिशन, ठीक है. So these are the technology which can be used. There are many more technology. आपको सब याद नहीं करना है. It's very unlikely कि वो टेक्नोलॉजी पर 15 नंबर का क्वेश्चन पूछेगा. You are going to write technology just to increase your brownie points. ठीक है. तो बस कोई भी एक या दो टेक्नोलॉजी याद कर लीजिए. Whenever you are writing new technology, ब्रैकेट में just write it. Just to show off कि you know bit extra. ठीक है. That's it. Okay. So that was about pollution control. And then author says that appropriate utilization and disposal of fly ash must also be ensured. Coal power plants produces lots of fly ash, which adds to pollution, soil, air pollution होता है, water में मिल जाता है, water pollution होता है. So you can think of how to use it appropriately. Okay, how you can use it appropriately? Fly ash, use of fly ash has already been asked in prelims. ठीक है, कि which of the following are possible uses of fly ash? तो आप previous year questions चेक कीजिए, कंट्रोल F कीजिए, फ्लाई एश डालिए, ठीक है, तो आपको मिल जाएगा फ्लाई एश वाला क्वेश्चन, ठीक है. तो फ्लाई एश कैन बी यूज्ड इन सीमेंट प्रोडक्शन, ब्रिक्स प्रोडक्शन, लैंडफिल्स में यूज होता है, रोड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन में फ्लाई एश का यूज होता है. सो आप टू यूज फ्लाई एश, ठीक है. तो ये हो गया आपका पॉल्यूशन साइड. देन ऑथर इज टॉकिंग अबाउट वन इंटरेस्टिंग एप्लीकेशन टू रिड्यूस कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड emission. Not emission, but author is saying that there is also need to promote projects in right earnest where carbon dioxide emitted by use of coal as fuel is captured and utilized for production of methane and urea. This point is very, very specific. Okay, this point you will not find at every place. ठीक है, बहुत सारे बुक्स में भी ये वाला पॉइंट नहीं होगा. इससे पहले हम जितना भी पॉइंट्स की बात किए ना, वो पॉइंट आपको बुक्स में मिल जाएगा. So this is a typical point which you should remember. कि कार्बन कैप्चर टेक्नोलॉजी सब कोई लिखते हैं, ठीक है. कार्बन कैप्चर टेक्नोलॉजी, दिस इज नाउ इट्स बीन इन न्यूज फॉर मोर देन 10 years, ठीक है. but it's saying that a particular carbon capture technology, you can capture carbon dioxide, which is produced in a thermal power plant, and then use it in production of urea, okay, production of ammonia, ठीक है, मिथेनॉल, उस सब में आप यूज कर सकते हो, ठीक है. तो दैट वे जो है आपका एक तरह से नेट जीरो की तरफ आप मूव करोगे. इट्स नॉट लाइक यू आर नॉट सेविंग एनी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, बट यू आर यूजिंग दैट कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड फॉर समथिंग एल्स, ठीक है. तो नेट कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड कम नहीं हो रहा है, बट उसका आप यूज कर ले रहे हो कहीं और पर, वो कैप्चर होके वो यूरिया के फॉर्म में चला गया, ठीक है. यू आर नॉट क्रिएटिंग एनी एडिशनल कार्बन, यू आर यूजिंग द सेम कार्बन, ठीक है. सो कार्बन कैप्चर is important, ठीक है, carbon capture technology, and use it for production of methane and urea, okay. And then author says that even if 50% of urea is produced using green ammonia में बोलता है कि वो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का यूज करेगा, तो if even 50% of the urea is produced using green ammonia and using carbon dioxide, then it can utilize more than 10 million tons of carbon dioxide emitted by power plant, ठीक है. तो इतना जो 10 million पावर प्लांट कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है उसका कुछ यूज हो जाएगा, ठीक है. तो दैट्स दैट, ठीक है. नो यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर ये 10 million और ये सब उतना पॉइंट्स याद रखने का जरूरत नहीं है, बट यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, ठीक है. तो ठीक है. सो जस्ट इन केस आप सब ने ये सब लिख लिया था, अभी जो यहाँ चल रहा था वो लिख लिया, ठीक है. ठीक है. चैलेंज वाले में जस्ट इन केस कोई नहीं लिखे थे, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है. तो इफ somebody have not repeated it, okay, Ganesh is saying please repeat the second and third processes. Okay, second and third process, probably you are talking about ultra supercritical coal power plant, and activated carbon injection. Okay, Manish Sharma is asking what is ultra. Okay, see ultra किसी का भी क्या हुआ, normally जो supercritical coal power plants होता है, it works at higher temperature, okay, usual power plants से ज़्यादा temperature. When we go for ultra, probably it's a more higher temperature, okay. So I'm not expert in that, okay. So I cannot say authoritatively, ठीक है, I don't want to go into that detail, ठीक है, I'm not the right person for that, but probably that, ठीक है. So टाइम क्या हो गया, ओके, 6:30 हो गया. तो एक टॉपिक तो और था, बट आई डोंट थिंक एनीबॉडी विलिंग टू स्टॉप. यस, ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है. तो लोग, ठीक है, सो इफ यू आर विलिंग टू स्टॉप देन वी विल टेक अप वन मोर आर्टिकल, ओके. In between, quickly just write challenges in expanding renewable energy. Just points, 1, 2, 3, 4 points. ठीक है. Challenges in expanding renewable energy. Challenges in expanding renewable energy. Number 1, land acquisition related issues. Number 1, land acquisition related issues. Lack of clear land records. ब्रैकेट में लिखना है, ठीक है. लैंड एक्विजिशन रिलेटेड इश्यूज, उसके ब्रैकेट में lack of clear land records, inflated land price, and local conflicts. Second point, high biodiversity in high solar or wind potential areas. High biodiversity in high solar or wind potential areas. In bracket, you can write Supreme Court banned overhead power transmission lines in Great Indian Bustard habitat. ठीक है. So this becomes a case. ठीक है. ये सब जो ब्रैकेट में जो लिख रहे हैं ना, वो आपका ब्राउनी पॉइंट्स है. बाकी जो ब्रैकेट के बाहर वाला जो है वो हर कोई लिखेगा, ठीक है. आपका पॉइंट यही है कि आप उठा करके एक्स्ट्रा ले लो, ठीक है. थर्ड वाला, स्लो पेस ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, bracket, like grid integration infrastructure and transmission of infrastructure. Okay, first point, Ganesh, first point was land acquisition related issues. Land acquisition related issues, in bracket lack of clear land records. Okay, हाथ थोड़ा जल्दी चलाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है, नहीं तो फिर टाइम बचेगा नहीं. Okay, and the last point is finance. Last point is finance. Okay, high initial cost. So that was the challenge. Okay, ठीक है. फाइनेंस वाले में ब्रैकेट पे लिख दीजिए हाई इनिशियल कॉस्ट. हाई इनिशियल कॉस्ट मतलब शुरू में उतना लैंड एक्वायर करना पड़ता है पर टेक्नोलॉजी तो वो कॉस्टली होगी. ठीक. ओके, नाउ विल मूव टू सेकंड आर्टिकल ऑफ इकोनॉमी. जनता वेट करने को रेडी है, ठीक है. आप या तो रुक सकते हैं या फिर सिंस ये यूट्यूब पे जा रहा है तो मे बी यू कैन वॉच इट लेटर ऑल्सो. ठीक है, जस्ट इन केस. ठीक है, ओके, ठीक है. ओके, नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल जो है वो दैट इज इंपोर्ट पॉलिसी मस्ट बी वेल इंटीग्रेटेड विथ मिनिमम सपोर्ट पॉलिसी. राइट, अगेन इस आर्टिकल का अच्छा चीज ये है कि ये आर्टिकल बहुत बड़ा है. आई टोल्ड यू ऑलरेडी दैट देयर आर टू टाइप ऑफ आर्टिकल्स. Okay, there are two type of articles. One article is such कि वो देख के छोटा लगता है, इससे पहले वाला 1.25 में, but every word was important. Then this article. Okay, this is 2.5. Okay, but the gist of this article can be written in just half of the page. Okay, so this will not take much time. What I will do is I'll just introduce you to the basics and then I will tell you the gist of the story. Okay, I will not go page by page here. Okay, so that will help you. I'll just tell you कि यहाँ पर ये है, यहाँ पर ये है. ठीक है, so the basics इस आर्टिकल को पढ़ने से पहले before this the prerequisites what you should know. What is import duty? Everybody knows. ठीक है, कि अगर बाहर से हमारे देश में कुछ आ रहा है तो they will have to pay some extra tax. Right, so that is import duty. Okay, इसी को it's also called custom duty. Okay, or import tariff. ठीक है, तो tax imposed on imported goods. ठीक है, be very careful. This was, ये तो बहुत सिंपल चीज था. ठीक है, import duty is this. Okay, यहां से जो आपको पता करना है कि if import duty, why import duty? Why government imposes import duty? एक तो पैसा कमाने के लिए. ठीक है, that's so simple. Yes, right. So one तो revenue generation and the second point is more strategic, that is to protect domestic industries. ठीक है, that to protect domestic producers. Right? So if import duty is increasing, okay, if import duty is increasing, okay, that means the cost of imported product will increase. Okay, so the domestic producers will be better placed to fight with them at the cost. Okay, that's one. But then import duty, is it good for consumers? If import duty is increasing, is it good for consumers? Okay, so when government is looking at the economy, there are producers, there are consumers. Okay, so increasing import duty is good for producers. Okay, so you will see in news always people saying कि steel पे बढ़ा दो, इस पे बढ़ा दो, उस पे बढ़ा दो. हमेशा they are lobbying it to increase. But who is paying the price? Consumers. Okay, so but इसका जो challenge है import duty का, challenge harmful for consumers. So if somebody want to take an extreme view, they can say that increasing import duty means consumers are subsidizing the producers. Okay, so that can be of course that's a more nuanced view, but this you should just know कि import duty का ऐसा तो है, ठीक है. Okay, agricultural products का if import duty will be reduced, who will be happy, farmers or consumers, right? If import duty of agri products will be reduced, okay, that will be consumers happy, farmers may suffer. Right? So this whole article is based on this one notion, right? Ki when government decides to reduce import duty in times of inflation, when there is inflation, the price is increasing, government want to control it, okay, well intentioned. But when government decides to reduce import duty on some of the things, then the farmers and the other people in the supply chain, they loses the chance to make profit when the prices are high. Okay, so the author is accusing government of taking a step which is biased to the consumer. Okay, and this is one theme which is there always for agriculture. You will see everywhere कि agriculture का ये एक challenge है, since consumer of course बहुत बड़ा है, farmers are not united. Okay, तो गवर्नमेंट टेक द डिसीजन, तो या तो वो एक्सपोर्ट को बंद कर देती है, तो इफ गवर्नमेंट विल बैन एक्सपोर्ट, लाइक गवर्नमेंट बैन एक्सपोर्ट फॉर व्हीट, फॉर ओनियन, ओके, तो एक्सपोर्ट बैन कर दी, अगेन दैट मीन्स फार्मर्स सफर बिकॉज दे आर नॉट एबल टू बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द हायर प्राइसेस अब्रॉड. एंड द सेकेंड, इफ गवर्नमेंट विल मेक इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी लो, अगेन द फार्मर्स सफर. So that is the basic concept of the article. Okay. Another is, if food price is high or high food inflation, what steps government can take? Okay. So again, you can divide it into short term steps and the long, medium, term steps, right? See, inflation you can control it by two ways. एक तो you can control demand side, another you can control supply side. Okay, clear? Inflation, demand, supply. ठीक है, I'm not writing it. It will save some time. Okay. Now the demand side thing is mainly in control of RBI, right? RBI can print money, RBI can increase, decrease interest rate and all that thing. The problem with food inflation is mainly controlled by supply side factors. Okay, food prices on monthly basis is not increasing because you have more money. Okay, of course on 10, if you will see on 10-year line, then maybe food prices are increasing because people's income is increasing. But if food prices is increasing in say 6 months time, then that is not because people have more money. Okay, so food prices are mainly increasing because either तो supply cut हो रहा है, ठीक है, supply reduce हो रहा है, ठीक है. So that is happening, that can be happening either because बारिश हो गई, रोड कनेक्टिविटी टूट गया, तो विलेज से शहर का कनेक्टिविटी टूट गया, आ नहीं रहा, ठीक है. स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी अच्छा नहीं था, बर्बाद हो गया, स्टोर्ड फूड जो है बर्बाद हो गया, ठीक है। या कोई इंसेक्ट अटैक हो गया, जैसे टोमेटो के केस में हुआ था कि इंसेक्ट अटैक हो गया, टमाटर जो है वो पूरा फसल बर्बाद हो गया एक सीजन का, ठीक है, तो अब प्राइस बढ़ गया, ठीक है। दीज थिंग्स आर नॉट इन द कंट्रोल ऑफ आरबीआई. RBI can do nothing. RBI cannot build road. RBI cannot build storage. These things. Okay. So food price control is mainly in the hand of the government. Okay. And how government can do it? Short term, long term. Short term वाले में हम देख लिए, एक तो export of essential items को कम करता है या बैन कर देता है. दूसरा import duty. This can be asked in prelims. इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी को रिड्यूस कर देता है, ठीक है. तीसरा पॉइंट जो ये कर सकता है, बफर स्टॉक मैनेजमेंट, ठीक है. तो गवर्नमेंट कैन स्टोर गुड्स व्हेन टाइम्स आर गुड, एंड देन व्हेन फूड प्राइसेस स्टार्ट इंक्रीजिंग, देन गवर्नमेंट विल स्टार्ट सेलिंग इट इन द मार्केट एट लोअर प्राइस, राइट. सो डेफ्ट यूज ऑफ बफर स्टॉक. ओके. सो maintaining buffer stock and selling it when prices are high at reasonable price, at affordable price. Okay? Maintaining buffer stock and selling it at affordable price in times of high inflation. Clear? Okay. So that was short term. Of course, if we talk about long-term measures, now this long-term measure will be asked in mains. Prelims में नहीं पूछा जाएगा. Long-term measures is one, तो you have to make your supply chain more efficient. ठीक है? You can write long-term measures of inflation management, food inflation. Long-term measures for controlling food inflation. Okay. So one is make supply chain more efficient. When we say make supply chain more efficient, all we mean is कि आप स्टोरेज बढ़ा दो, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कैपेसिटी बढ़ा दो, वेस्टेज जो हो रहा है उसको कम कर दो. ओके. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स. ओके. सो इम्प्रूव स्टोरेज, आप कोल्ड स्टोरेज बढ़ा दो, ठीक है. ऑल वेदर रोड कनेक्टिविटी, रेफ्रिजरेटेड वैन्स, okay. So these things will make supply chain more efficient. Okay. Reduce wastage, ठीक है, whatever you can use, ठीक है. Food processing कर दो, there can be many things. Okay. Another is, so one long term measure में एक तो हो गया कि आप सप्लाई चेन करो, जो कि आप खट से नहीं कर सकते. आज आप चाहोगे तो एक महीना के अंदर रोड नहीं बन जाएगा. ओके. एंड द सेकेंड इज यू हैव टू इंक्रीज एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्टिविटी. दिस इज कि वंस इट इज प्रोड्यूस्ड इट शुड रीच मार्केट क्विकली, ठीक है, ये उसका है. और दूसरा है कि सेकेंड पॉइंट इज इंक्रीज एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्टिविटी. Increasing agricultural productivity means that from the same amount of land or the same amount of water, you should be able to produce more. ठीक है. तो आप जमीन बढ़ा नहीं सकते. ओके. ऑलरेडी फॉरेस्ट कवर जो है हमारा कम हो रहा है, ठीक है, पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रहा है, तो स्कोप ऑफ इंक्रीजिंग द एरेबल एरिया that is very less. Okay. We cannot do that much. So we have to increase agricultural productivity, and for that you have to invest on R&D. ठीक है. हाई यील्डिंग वैरायटी HYV सीड्स, ठीक है. आप ये बढ़ा सकते हो, मल्टी क्रॉपिंग कर सकते हो, ठीक है, एटसेट्रा. ठीक है. तो व्हाट एवर थिंग इंक्रीजेस द प्रोडक्टिविटी. यू कैन ट्रेन फार्मर्स, कृषि विज्ञान केंद्रास, okay, so they can be used to train farmers, they can be used to impart technology. अभी क्या हो रहा है कि यहाँ पर पूसा आप लोग देखें, ICAR है, इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च, यहाँ से हार्डली हमको लगता है 1 किलोमीटर होगा. दिस इज पूसा रोड, रोड का नाम ही पूसा रोड है, ठीक है. सो द लॉट्स ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च इज हैपनिंग इन पूसा. वहाँ पर आप शाम को घूमने भी जा सकते हो, यू कैन सी एवरीथिंग, बट नॉट मच इज रीचिंग द फार्मर्स, ठीक है. जो हो रहा है वो वहीं पे हो रहा है, पेपर पे रह रहा है, ठीक है. तो दैट इज अ बिग चैलेंज. ओके, फॉर दैट वी हैव कृषि विज्ञान केंद्रास. कृषि विज्ञान केंद्रास का जॉब यही है कि वहाँ पर जो लोग होते हैं दे आर टेक्निकल पर्सन, सो दे कैन कोलैबोरेट, दे कैन लिंक द फार्मर्स विथ एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटीज. ओके, सो इफ दीज थिंग्स विल हैपन देन दिस विल डू, ठीक है. हाउ मेनी टाइम्स मोर, ओके, ठीक है. No, Shivam, how many times more, that will depend on so many things. Okay, I have seen your question, I'm just ignoring it because I don't have a data for that, कि how many times more. Okay, कि solar का thermal के respect में कितना more होगा, that will depend on technology used, place, too technical. Okay, उस detail में मत जाओ. Whatever you will say, somebody can say it is wrong. जो बैकवर्ड लिंकेज हुआ कि आप तक, मतलब फार्मर है, फार्मर तक जो चीज़ें आ रहा है, मतलब सीड आ रहा है, पानी का हो रहा है, वो हो गया बैकवर्ड. फॉरवर्ड इज कि वंस प्रोडक्ट बन गया, अब आप मार्केट में जाके बेचोगे, दैट इज. तो आप फार्मर को बीच में रखो, वहाँ से देखो कि उसके पीछे क्या है, उसके आगे क्या है, ठीक है. बैकवर्ड फॉरवर्ड, ठीक है. ओके, सो दिस इज लॉन्ग टर्म मेजर फॉर कंट्रोलिंग फूड इन्फ्लेशन. ओके, just so the basic. अभी इसमें बहुत सारे points हैं, but the crux is that. Okay, and you already know about minimum support price. ठीक है, so that's in topic itself. Import policy must be well integrated with minimum support policy. Minimum support policy, it's just a predetermined price which government promises to pay to the farmer if market price goes below that, right? So just in case anybody want to write, you can write that MSP is predetermined price. MSP is predetermined price which government promises to pay the farmer in case market price goes down, go below it. ठीक है, so that is MSP. बट अगेन इट्स जस्ट अ प्रॉमिस, ठीक है. बाकी प्रॉमिसों की तरह इसका भी वही हाल है, क्योंकि इसका जो है नो लॉ बैकिंग इट, ठीक है. तो पूरा फार्म प्रोटेस्ट जो चल रहा था, उसका वन ऑफ द रीजन था देयर इज नो लॉ बैकिंग इट, स्टिल वी डोंट हैव एनी लॉ बैकिंग इट, ठीक है. एमएसपी को सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट जो है वो एमएसपी डिक्लेयर करती है, ठीक है, फॉर 22 क्रॉप्स, ठीक है. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया डिक्लेयर्स एमएसपी. एमएसपी यूपीएससी का फेवरेट टॉपिक है प्रीलिम्स के लिए. मेंस में शायद 1 या 2 बार पूछा है एमएसपी, बट प्रीलिम्स में आता रहता है, ठीक है. तो 22 क्रॉप्स और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया डिक्लेयर करती है. अगर आप बहुत जगह देखेंगे आपको कहीं 23 दिखेगा, कहीं 24 दिखेगा, ठीक है. मोस्टली आपको गवर्नमेंट सोर्सेज में अगर आप पीआईबी में देखो इट्स 22 क्रॉप्स, ठीक है. The 2 crops more are there, but their MSP is derived from the 2 MSP which is there itself. तो आप एग्जाम में उतना कंफ्यूज नहीं रहिए, अगर गलती से पूछ दिया तो 22 क्रॉप्स, ठीक है. ये हो गया. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया डिक्लेयर करती है, पर रिकमेंड कौन करती है? हु रिकमेंड्स एमएसपी? एनी आइडिया हु रिकमेंड्स एमएसपी? CSEP, ठीक है, कमीशन फॉर एग्रीकल्चर कॉस्ट एंड प्राइसेस, ठीक है. So these points are important for prelims. Okay, so at least basics of MSP we should know. Recommended by CACP, ठीक है, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, ठीक है. This is a part of Ministry of Agriculture, ठीक है. CACP, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. Okay, it's an advisory body. It advises that. Yes. So Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. तो ये रिकमेंड करता है, इट हैज रिकमेंडेटरी पावर, बट इट्स द अप्रूवल इज बाय कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स, CCEA, कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स. Okay, recommendation is by CSEP but approved by CCEA, cabinet committee on economic affairs. Okay, cabinet committee on economic affairs. Who heads cabinet committee on economic affairs? हेड कौन करता है? which chairperson? कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर और प्राइम मिनिस्टर. ओके, प्राइम मिनिस्टर. ठीक है, तो CCEA मोस्ट ऑफ द कैबिनेट कमिटीज आर हेडेड बाय प्राइम मिनिस्टर. दो एक्सेप्शन है. ठीक है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट ऑल इज प्राइम मिनिस्टर. तो कैबिनेट कमिटी इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स अप्रूव्स. ठीक है, तो ये आपको बेसिक हो गया आपका MSP का. ठीक है, वी आर नॉट गोइंग इनटू मच डिटेल. MSP पूरा एक दिन का ये है. ठीक है, तो MSP का प्रॉमिस क्या है कि मार्केट प्राइस से नीचे जाएगा तो हम खरीद लेंगे. ठीक है, एक्चुअली में ऐसा होता नहीं है. ठीक है, क्योंकि एक्चुअली में ओनली कुछ स्टेट्स में ही MSP पर प्रोक्योरमेंट जो है वो ज़्यादा होता है, बाकी स्टेट्स में MSP रिमेन्स ऑन पेपर. नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग द आर्टिकल. आर्टिकल का पूरा आर्टिकल एक ही चीज़ बोलता है घुमा फिरा करके कि देखो भाई, जब इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ता है तो यस यू शुड कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन. ठीक है, बट इफ यू विल कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन बाय क्विकली रिड्यूसिंग इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी टू जीरो, देन फार्मर्स विल नॉट बी एबल टू मेक एनी प्रॉफिट. ठीक है, तो फार्मर्स की जिंदगी खराब हो जाएगी. सिमिलरली अगर आप एक्सपोर्ट एकदम से जीरो कर देते हो तो डोंट डू दैट. ओके, द आर्टिकल सेज दैट yes, inflation, food inflation, you have to do that, but do it gradually. That's one thing, give time. And the second article says that yes, you have to control food inflation, but then एक तो ये है कि long term वाला steps उठाओ. Okay, and then says that ensure that the imported goods price is not below MSP. Okay, so set import tariff in such a manner that the price of imported goods are at least equal to MSP. ठीक है, तो so that कि farmers can compete. If the price of imported goods will go below MSP, then farmers will not be able to compete with imported goods. Okay, तो ये पूरा आर्टिकल का यही है. That's इसका जो है कि import policy must be well integrated with minimum support policy. कि don't take decisions in silos कि ये डिपार्टमेंट MSP सेट कर रहा है, ये डिपार्टमेंट टैरिफ कर रहा है. Don't do that. ठीक है, एक साथ आओ एंड इसका जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट वाला पार्ट है वो यहाँ पर है. ठीक है, सेकेंड पेज, इसके बाद वाला सेकेंड पेज का लास्ट. ठीक है, सेकेंड पेज का जो लास्ट वाला पॉइंट है, that is most important page. So take time out and read that. Okay, what could be the rational trade policy that dovetails well with domestic MSP policy? Now this can be asked. ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है कि MSP पॉलिसी, ट्रेड पॉलिसी, हाउ टू इंटीग्रेट इट. तो ये यहाँ पर 1 2 3 3 पॉइंट्स जो हम अभी आपको बताए हैं वही 3 पॉइंट्स यहाँ पर दिए हैं. ठीक है, तो राइट दैट. एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज, इतना हो गया, आर्टिकल हो गया, यही आर्टिकल है. ठीक है, बाकी कुछ स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन है आर्टिकल में विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स पर्सपेक्टिव. फैक्ट्स. वन, कि इंडिया का मैक्सिमम जो इंपोर्ट है, एग्रीकल्चरल इंपोर्ट, तो वेजिटेबल ऑयल्स जो है, एडिबल ऑयल, मोर देन 45% ऑफ इंडियाज एग्रीकल्चर इंपोर्ट इज एडिबल ऑयल्स, वेजिटेबल ऑयल्स. ठीक है, तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. दिस शुड बी देयर इन योर नोट्स. ठीक है, एंड दिस हैज बीन आस्क्ड आल्सो. 2018 में UPSC आस्क्ड. ठीक है, UPSC पूछा ये था कि मोर देन 50% हमारा जो डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन है वो इंपोर्ट होता है एडिबल ऑयल का, विच इज ट्रू. ओके, तो हियर लेट मी फाइंड. हाँ अभी बता दे रहे वो. ठीक है, अभी आते हैं. ये वाला जो डेटा था, हाँ, हियर लास्ट पारा ऑफ फर्स्ट पेज. ठीक है, फर्स्ट पेज का लास्ट पारा. Okay, this is very important for prelims. Okay, India imports बीच में India imports roughly 55 to 60% of its edible oil consumption. ठीक है, तो हम जो समोसा खा रहे हैं तो उसका आप ये assume कीजिए कि more than 55% ऑयल जो आ रहा है that is imported. ठीक है, तो that's one big point. Okay, और within edible oil palm oil जो है वो maximum है. ठीक है, हम जो import करते हैं तो पाम ऑयल हो गया, सोयाबीन ऑयल हो गया, सनफ्लावर ऑयल हो गया, तो मेनली हम लोग ये 3 ऑयल इंपोर्ट करते हैं. तो विद इन दैट पाम ऑयल इज द मोर देन 50% इज पाम ऑयल. ठीक है, आवर इंपोर्टेड ऑयल मोर देन 50% इज पाम ऑयल. ठीक है, लार्जेस्ट जो हमारा सोर्स है कंट्री है मलेशिया, इंडोनेशिया. ठीक है, फॉर पाम ऑयल. ठीक है, अगर हम सनफ्लावर ऑयल की बात करें तो लार्जेस्ट इज रसिया, सेकेंड इज यूक्रेन. ठीक है, तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट जब रसिया यूक्रेन क्राइसिस हुआ था तो अचानक से प्राइस जो बढ़ा था, क्योंकि हमारा नंबर 1 और नंबर 2 दोनों वही दोनों हैं. ठीक है, तो फॉर सनफ्लावर ऑयल. और सोयाबीन ऑयल जो है वो हमारा साउथ अमेरिका. ठीक है, अर्जेंटीना, ब्राज़ील, तो वो मैक्सिमम है हमारा इसका. ठीक है, सोयाबीन ऑयल का. तो सोयाबीन ऑयल और सनफ्लावर पूछने का ज़्यादा चांस है क्योंकि वहाँ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा है. ठीक है, और पाम ऑयल पूछने का चांस हमेशा ही रहता है क्योंकि वो नंबर 1 है. ठीक है, इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंपोर्ट. ठीक है, तो ये चीज़. अच्छा, अभी ये यहाँ पर कहानी क्या बता रहा है कि इंडियाज एग्री इंपोर्ट हैव रजिस्टर्ड ए नोटेबल डिक्लाइन ऑफ 8%. ठीक है, कि इंडिया का जो एग्री इंपोर्ट है वो 8% से डिक्लाइन हो गया. ठीक है, देन सेज कि मेजर डिक्लाइन हुआ है वेजिटेबल ऑयल में. वेजिटेबल ऑयल इंपोर्ट में डिक्लाइन हुआ है. ठीक है, तो व्हेन वी कंपेयर फ्रॉम ये यूपीए और एनडीए एरा शायद यूज नहीं किया है बट टाइमलाइन बताया है. तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन टाइमलाइन कैन से कि 2014-15 तक का, और उसके बाद में हम देखते हैं कि बाद में डिक्लाइन हुआ है. ठीक है, इंपोर्ट. तो इट लुक्स लाइक कि हम आत्मनिर्भर हो गए. ठीक है, इन टर्म्स ऑफ एग्री इंपोर्ट्स वी आर बिकमिंग मोर आत्मनिर्भर. बट देन दे से दैट कि मेजर डिक्लाइन एडिबल ऑयल में हुआ है. क्वेश्चन इज कि एडिबल ऑयल के क्वांटिटी में डिक्लाइन हुआ है या बस पैसा में डिक्लाइन हुआ है. ठीक है, मतलब ऐसा हो सकता है ना कि क्वांटिटी तो उतना ही हम अभी भी इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज कि ग्लोबल प्राइसेस कम हो गया तो हमारा प्राइस, हमारा इंपोर्ट बिल घट गया. तो देन ऑथर shows that is the case for edible oil. That is the case. Edible oil import in terms of quantity that has not changed much, but edible oil import in terms of rupee, in terms of dollar, that have reduced because of the reduction in global prices. Okay, that means we have not become Atmanirbhar. We should not become too happy by looking at this data कि हमारा import bill कम हो रहा है. ठीक है, अगला कोई लड़ाई होगा अचानक से हमारा इंपोर्ट बिल फिर से बढ़ेगा बिकॉज हम आत्मनिर्भर नहीं हुए हैं. ठीक है, तो दैट्स द क्रक्स. तो टेक होम मैसेज इस आर्टिकल का यही है कि एमएसपी से नीचे इंपोर्टेड प्राइस कभी ना हो. ठीक है, हाँ, कि जो आप जब भी करो और जब भी आपको एक्सपोर्ट कम करना हो या इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी घटाना हो, डू इट ग्रेजुअली. ठीक है, गिव फार्मर्स एंड सप्लायर्स टाइम एंड देन ये हो गया. ठीक है, दैट वाज द थिंग. ओके, सो नॉर्मली इतना लंबा नहीं खींचता है. आज सर का सेशन कुछ ज़्यादा लंबा चला गया. आई अंडरस्टैंड. हाँ, क्योंकि सर का कल वाला टॉपिक जो है वो बचा हुआ. तो नॉर्मली 2.5 आवर्स जो है. हाँ, तो नॉर्मली दैट इज द केस. ओके, एवरी सैटरडे. And then you can join economy telegram channel as well. Okay, you guys are already there, so that's fine. Okay, okay, bye bye those who are watching online. Bye bye, all the best. So see you all Saturday. Okay, yes, next Friday I'll be taking economy current affairs. क्या कल ऑफ है. हाँ, मेरा ऑफ है. आपका क्या है वो तो बताएंगे. अच्छा, वो टेलीग्राम पे आता नहीं. आई होप सो, क्योंकि मेरा लैपटॉप भी मेरी है।